What's up, everybody? Welcome to Flagrant. Al is converted to MAGA. Look at the pants. You are such a grifter, bro. He got a little love from the hunting community, and now he's like, oh, okay, let me ride this shit out. I'm trying to go to, what is it, Honky Tonk Coachella? What is that shit called? Stagecoach. Okay, obviously we got to react to the Trump interview. My reaction is Trump is winning by a landslide.
Okay, well,
it's not close anymore. Is that the energy y'all felt?
you're a prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, you really are.
We know that about me.
Right.
We know that about me.
Before Trump came on, you're like, yeah, it could go either way. It's very close.
No, before he came on, I was like, he don't got a chance. I was like, he's coming on here. He got to be down bad. He got to be down. I mean, no, we're the best. He got to be down bad. And then after the interview, obviously we saw the reaction.
And you got 20 or 25 text messages, and you were like, this guy's winning.
Yo, listen, it wasn't the 20 to 25 text messages. You know what it was? It was the looks on the street.
Oh, really?
The looks on the street I was getting, it was like, you know when like someone who's trying to sell you drugs, like they give you this like nod? Like a person you don't know, like a person on the street.
Yeah.
Right? They go, you would know.
He's the only one that agreed.
Y'all had no clue how to buy drugs in the street. And I was like, I know that nod. I used to give that to people all the time. So they give you this nod like, yo, like I got what you need.
Yeah.
That's all I've been getting for the last week.
What a different racial reality we live in. Because I've been getting looks like,
Wow, that's so interesting. So you guys have had a
I
different
lost
reaction.
10,000 followers on Instagram. Anybody
Well,
else?
Akash is dumbass. We're doing the Patreon, and he's like, I've just been getting so much hate in the past couple hours.
Yeah.
And we're like, why? He's like, well, I posted a picture of me endorsing Donald Trump.
I didn't endorse it. I said the podcast episode is live.
You posted a selfie with him.
I had a thumbs up.
He couldn't believe that people were upset about it.
He had the thumbs up, but I wasn't that tempted to
So
be like,
just out of
because
curiosity.
it's so fun next to him.
Hold on. Just out of curiosity, you're surprised that there was a negative reaction to you posting a picture with the most divisive human being on the planet.
Smiling, hand in hand.
Yeah. He didn't post like a clip where he was asking a question or nothing.
No.
You just did the fanboy pic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You're not
posted
taking a picture with Travis Scott. It's
I
Donald
posted a
Trump.
picture with Kamala. No
Yeah.
question.
Oh, don't do that, please.
I absolutely
Don't
would.
do the I have black friends thing that every podcast is doing
has
before the
one.
interview.
Yeah.
Friends?
Yeah. I have one.
Work colleagues.
Yeah, I have one. He's not in this room, but I have one. You know what I mean?
No. That is a thing that I noticed that like pods, and we were intentional at not doing this, and there have been pods that like Call Her Daddy tried to do with Kamala, and what's it called? And I think Bussin' and the Boys did it when they had Trump on.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bussin' and the Boys. But essentially what you're trying to do is control the reaction.
Yeah.
So you're like almost like apologizing before you start.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that we said we're not doing on it
Yeah.
because there's nothing wrong with interviewing the Republican nominee for president who is already an
Or
ex-president.
posting a picture with him.
That's crazy,
that's
bro.
crazy. That you
That's
did that.
crazy.
You're a
Picture.
big MAGA guy.
Glaze.
Yeah.
Glaze.
You're a fascist
Yo,
bootlicker.
I
That's
know
what you
really
are.
are. Fascist.
I'm sorry. I appreciate good comedy. Y'all don't.
No, you
One of
are.
us is a student of the game here.
Nah,
you're a
that
bad
was
guy.
worse than Andrew's haircut for the past year.
I did have a really
What
good
you did was
haircut.
more racist.
I did have a really
Your
good haircut.
skin
Yo.
looks amazing.
Yo, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was just
Like
about to
it's
shit on you. I was about to shit on you.
I felt it coming. I felt it coming.
You deflected that.
I did.
Yeah.
Wow. Because he
it's
dissed me and I had something locked and
the
ready to go.
the podcast
And then he
intro.
just boom.
The podcast
boom.
intro.
That was smart.
Good right
That's
there.
why you do the podcast intro.
Honestly, Alex might win this election. I believe in Alex Davis. So Al was not happy. When Trump called Alex bald, that was one of the most disrespectful things on the podcast. Al, yo,
Do you know how hard I have to bite my tongue to not say something
within
back?
30 seconds, Al had whispered under his breath, yo, your ear don't look shot.
That was wild. That was a ballsy thing. I was shocked.
All Trump had to say was, you got great hair. Why you hiding it under that hat? And Al would be like, his ear damn near blown the fuck off. What, he get shot with a bazooka? That's crazy.
Nah.
How does he even hear us on the couch right now with that wound?
Son, I was gonna make a hair comment, but then that would have ended the interview right there.
Now, Mark was nice with his hair comment.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That
You got
was
one.
good. Yo, did you guys
Respect.
have any questions you want to ask him now?
I did have one.
You asked plenty. They just sat there smelling them.
No, I was
I thought you
smelling
meant
them.
that you pussied out at it.
Yeah. Dude, the amount of people that have asked me, like, yo, What did he smell like?
Yo,
Why is this
because
the
they
question?
say, okay, so
Not
one
a
of these.
single person asked me that.
No, one of the,
No, Al gets asked that about you.
yeah.
one of the liberal talking points that's knocking Trump right now is that he's apparently like shitting himself, and
Oh, yeah.
and it's like,
Okay, if that's a crime, lock me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking
yo,
about?
punch him in his stomach.
What?
Punch him in his stomach.
We
yo.
shit ourselves
he's a
sometimes.
dad now.
You
I
can't
get it.
shit yourself sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, Mark. What are you raising your hand for? Shifty. Solidarity? You shit yourself?
Oh, yeah, he shit himself too.
Yeah, if he eats 3 bites out of a hamburger, maybe.
Yeah, he can't
Who's
eat
allergic
beef.
to red meat?
You're the king
What
of
is
shitting
that?
yourself. You shit
I know,
yourself all
yeah.
the time.
Come on.
I shit in toilets.
No.
Listen, why has this become a poop conversation? We're
Okay,
having
all right, I'm sorry. You're right.
sophisticated
You're right.
political talk.
You're right.
The election is how many days away? 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. We gotta have we gotta be a serious podcast for the next 3 weeks. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yo.
That's funny.
Okay. So, well, yeah, the poop thing, that was one of the talking points, that he's like shitting himself. He doesn't smell bad at all. Also,
He's not 6'3".
He's shrinking.
Yeah. So definitely not 6'3".
Okay.
Yeah.
100%. What I will say is my dad is also 81, and he used to be 6'1", 6 feet, and he's shorter. I'll also say that he does not have dementia, or whatever the fuck they're saying.
He's sharp,
Oh, yeah,
dog.
no.
He's
Sharp
sharp.
as
He's
sharp.
He's sharp.
And I have a father with dementia. I saw the signs 30 years ago with my dad. I know what,
Oh,
maybe 20 years
okay.
ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like I am acutely aware of how they are, and zero sign of that. Not 6'3". You're right
I'd say
about that.
6'1".
Yeah. But also 80. So it's like
Yeah, you could've
you
shrunk.
start to maybe lose a few inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, questions that you guys really want to ask.
Well, I was going to ask, hey, have you seen Shane Gillis's amazing impression of you?
Well, did you see Blessing with the Boys do it?
Yeah. And he was like, I don't know who that is.
He's seen
and I
that
don't
shit.
like the impression.
He's seen that shit because they asked him, they're like, do you know who Shane Gillis is? He goes, no.
He's 1,000,000% seen.
Yeah. How do you not know? Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, he does this amazing impression with you. And then he kind of takes me and he goes, I heard it's great. I know it's great. And then they move the fuck on.
Yeah.
I was going to ask him. About the impression because I wanted there to be like a cool moment where he goes, I've seen the impression. It's the best impression. It's great, blah, blah, blah. He does like a Trump run on it. Yeah. And then that'd be like a funny moment. And then I was asking his team, I was like, does he like impressions? And this team was like, not a big fan of impressions. Not a big fan. So that's why
Yeah.
stayed away.
He dodged the bullet.
Yeah, literally. Me and him both.
Yeah.
I'm always going to ask, have you ever talked shit about someone then regretted it later?
Oh.
That was one that we had talked about because on the call that he does with RFK after he gets shot, he tells him, he's like, yeah, Biden called me and he was so nice and friendly and I was just talking shit about him. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And it was like such a candid, honest moment. I'm like, oh, he must do that all the time. But didn't ask.
Yeah.
Just thought about my hair. Just thought about 100 questions I should ask and then just sat there terrified.
It was tricky. Like, I told you guys this, but like in retrospect, what I wish that I did was I knew things you want to ask, at least one thing each, and then I lobbed it to you guys. But keep in mind, in this situation, they say you have an hour. You probably have around 45 minutes.
Yes.
We ended up going for an hour and a half because he was having a really fun time, and he basically. His team was telling us we got to wrap it up, and I would look at them, and then I would just look away.
Yeah.
They weren't going to walk into the interview. I had told Dove in the beginning of the thing, I go, Dove,
Yeah.
we are going to keep going until Donald Trump tells us this interview is over. Okay? He's the man in charge.
And you told us.
Dove is so smart. He could have sat on the side with the Trump team. Right? Okay, Vala wants credit for that. So Vala,
No, I was sitting with them.
oh, you were sitting with them.
They're alone the
And they were
Vala's
talking to you.
texting me. I'm ignoring him
So
too.
and no, this is how sophisticated Dove is, right? Watch this. He goes to the other side so they can't talk to him, and then he does this. Before we start, he goes, everybody put your phone on airplane mode.
Oh.
Now, I didn't pick it up in the beginning, right?
Genius.
Airplane mode is, oh, you were texting me? I
They
didn't even
can't
see-
text him to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew they were texting
Wow.
the shit out of me. Love you guys, whoever was
But
helping and supportive.
Listen,
but,
we won the election for it. You know, it is what it is. If you want to have a nice interview with, Alex Media is going to make sure you win the election. You're such a sellout to your people, dude.
You're a sellout. I saw you in a Kamala ad 2 days ago.
How did
Yeah.
she use me in an ad?
I know, that's crazy.
You're shilling for the fucking liberals.
You know they paid me $50,000 for that.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I
Actually.
got a licensing fee for
That's
that.
great.
Oh, you did.
$50,000.
That's awesome.
No, he's lying.
What
Yeah,
are
no,
you,
you
what are you
didn't
going to do with that
fucking
money?
lie.
What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to donate to Donald J. Trump.
Now we're talking.
I'm donating it.
Yo,
No, go.
Couple things. I was very glad. I said this to you. I was like, I'm glad Schultz is the one leading this because the day before you said a lot of things that were helpful. One was about them telling us it's early. They were like, they're going to try to end it early. Nobody fucking look in their direction.
Yeah.
We are ignoring them. Donald Trump tells us when it's over.
He's the guy in charge. I listen to the president.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I like the team. Shout out their team. Shout out Alex and Jack. Thank you very much.
And the
for
other thing
making
you
this
said
happen.
was 90% of the people are going to have their opinions formed before they listen to a second of the episode, and you're not going to change their minds.
Yeah.
So don't worry about asking for everybody else. Ask the questions you want to ask.
Yeah.
And I was really happy you said that. That was really...
Because the last thing you want to do is ask something that you don't believe in for somebody else and then have that also get rejected.
Yeah.
So now you're rejected for something you don't even believe in,
Yeah.
which is the worst thing. It's almost like on stage if you're pandering
Yeah, and then
and then the audience, you still bomb.
Yeah.
You're like, I double bombed.
And I use my finite time to ask questions I think they might want me to ask instead of questions
Just
I want to ask.
Ask the shit that you guys want to
Yeah,
ask.
and it's still hard. I wish you guys. It's just hard. He can go.
So-
and you're trying so hard to get your question in, and it's just it's a tough thing.
We do the pod. Pod comes out, right? And obviously we're all like, expecting, okay, what's going to be the reaction to this? We knew it was a great pod, right?
Yeah.
It comes out, the reaction is like, reaction starts with the right. The right fucking loves it. They're like, finally, this is Donald Trump. This is the personality. This is somebody who's got charisma. He's making comedians laugh. He's just hanging out talking. And they're like, this is the best interview Trump has ever. Every headline is the best interview Trump has ever done. Whatever. I expected that after it because I think we kind of showed him as a man, right? It wasn't like a gotcha type of interview, which is not really our style. And there was intention with that,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that do the gotcha interviews, I think it's very narcissistic.
It's for you,
It's just for you. It's like
not for the people.
exactly or it's for your fan base to just go look at you. You held the torch to him.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's like you have an hour to potentially influence someone who might be the most powerful person in the world to have empathy for something you really care about.
Mm-hmm.
And he's listening to you. So how can we create a situation where he actually listens and he doesn't feel bullied?
Yeah.
And there was a moment that you got him to say two things that he never said. A lot of interviewers, they try to get him to say, to admit shit.
Yeah.
And I know he doesn't present as a tough guy because you see him with this coiffed hair and he's in a nice suit, but I think his identity is that of a tough guy, like a macho guy. He's a New York guy who grew up on construction sites. He's be tough. And when you try to bully someone tough, the reaction is, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. But he was so comfortable that he said, yeah, we're going to have elections. It was the election question.
yeah.
Of course, we're going to have elections. And this is what I actually meant by it. He never explains his positions, but he fucking explained it. And I thought that was a testament to us creating a really good environment and you even setting up the question in a way.
Thank you.
And yeah, I was just I was really proud that we got to a point where we could even have that back and forth about America.
Yeah.
That
was awesome.
Immigration, even
That was awesome.
Yeah, and the IVF obviously really important to me, but I asked everything that I wanted to talk to the potential president about.
Yeah.
And
You even got him to compliment Gavin Newsom's hair. Which that is crazy.
not on my list, but glad we accomplished it. Guys, I got some stand-up shows coming up for the Life Tour. These are the remaining shows of the Life Tour. We are going to Denver. We have added a third show there. Also going to Cincinnati that weekend. We had a second show there. Rama, Ontario as well. We're also going to be going to Salt Lake City. We added a second show there. Reno, we have 2 shows. San Jose, we added a second show. Portland. And then we are wrapping up the tour December 21st in Honolulu, Hawaii at the Blythedale Arena. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out to this tour. It's been absolutely incredible. TheAdrianSchultz.com for tickets. Don't get by the resellers. Go grab those. I will see you out there. Thank you so much. Peace.
Also, guys, quick show announcement. First of all, Stress Factory, we did 7 shows, sold them all out 10 days in advance, tried to add more, we could not. They have an event there on Sunday, so if you are a procrastinating Indian, I'm sorry, you're shit out of luck. I even tried to add another weekend because I love you so much as brown people, but my wife won't let me because I've been on the road, I think 9 weekends in a row at this point, and that's just not happening anymore. Anyway, October 25th and 26th, Richmond, Virginia, November 1st and 2nd, Lexington, Kentucky. That might be the home of the Klan, or maybe that's Louisville. Either way, I would love for you guys to all show up. Let's talk things things out. Let's see what our differences are. Maybe we can make amends. November 22nd and 23rd, Rochester, New York. December 4th. Announcing this right now, I'm coming to Long Island. I've never headlined in Long Island. I am mostly scared of you guys, but now that we interviewed Donald Trump, I feel like you're going to love me. I'm one of the good ones. So I will be at Governor's in Levittown. Come through. All those dates and more at akashsingh.com. Also, we're still doing our thing on fan bases, dropping content there. So check that out as well. Now let's get back to the show.
So, right loves it, right? I'm waiting for the left fallout.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, okay, a day goes by, not really that bad. Second day goes by, I see a headline. Podcaster laughs in president's face. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Because I thought they were going to be like, bros, just suck Trump's dick for an hour and a half, whatever.
Yeah.
Then every headline is the podcast that laughs in the president, the podcast trolls the president. And I'm looking at the internet and it's like the right loves it and the left loves it.
Yeah. Choose your own reality.
I'm like, what bizarre world do we fucking live in where both sides, and it was like you said in the beginning of this podcast here, it's just like you go in, you have the glasses on.
Yeah.
And your glasses are whatever your political beliefs are, your religious beliefs, whatever they are. And you view that same content through those lenses, and that's what you see.
Yeah.
And like I know this sounds like grandiose, but I don't mean it to be. It changed the way I see media. I used to think everybody was a liar trying to fluff their base.
Okay.
Now, the way I think media works is there are some people that are honest and they just view it through their lens. If you're a right-wing guy that you like Trump and you really liked his charisma and you saw that come out, you're like, this is awesome. If you're a left-wing guy and you saw us laughing and joking around, you might interpret it as us making fun of him, and that's truly what you see. That's the first wave. The second wave are the people that see those headlines and they grift. They're like, ooh, Trump's best interview ever. Okay, I'll make a video on why it's that. Okay. And the left is like, ooh, they laughed in the president's face. I'll make a video on that. Every headline was copied by every content producer. There were literally like 2 or 3 headlines total, and everybody just made videos about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is just algo hunting or whatever.
Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know, like what is that term? Where you like trying to play the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but it helped me understand. Like I do think people authentically see things based on what they believe. So I have a little bit more. I have a little less resentment for the public.
Okay.
For content creators.
Yeah.
At least the first wave. The ones that just grift because they see the views, fuck them.
Yeah.
But the initial reaction, I go, okay, that was real. You're not just trying to fluff your base.
It's a Rorschach. You really see what you want to see. And I think that applies to a lot of things. Like I feel like there's stuff I can even think of, like, some social thing, or like some guy says something about like, class, and then it's misinterpreted by a whole different contingent about race.
Yes.
And it's like, well, I didn't mean it that way, but now I can see it if you're saying that. Like,
that's what those people really see.
Yeah. Someone being just like, I love the cops. And then black people interpret that like, oh, you're racist?
You love that those cops are racist. You love that those cops beat us up. You're like, no, I love that they like keep.
But if you understand the black people's relationship with cops, then all of a sudden it can make complete sense. And those are the glasses everyone wears all the time.
And the person that says I love the cops hasn't experienced maybe the treatment that some of his black friends have gone through. And if he did experience that, he might go, the cops have always really protected me and I have a great relationship with them. And for that, I'm really grateful. Yeah. And I've seen some fucked up situations with cops as well.
Yeah.
But if you're only in your little echo chamber, you don't have the, I guess, experience to talk about that.
Yeah.
Back to your point, where is the level of grift and I truly feel that way? Where does it start or where does it end? Because that's the thing I can't identify.
Yeah, I feel a little more cynical than you guys do. I know that happens, what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are feeding their bases what they think they want to hear. And that's the people writing the headlines. I don't know how many. I tend to think the majority of them are, how do I appease the people that subscribe and keep them subscribed?
I think it's, if you make content, you're making it a little bit grifty, and it's like you're just telling people how to feel.
So I agree with you. I think that, and we've had this discussion before, where like the algorithm, never in history were you able to know exactly what your base wanted as well as you know now, right? Because the algorithm can decide for you.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, like the algorithm dictates the content you make. We've talked about this on the pod before, right? And you see certain like grifty fucks on the internet that basically like, oh, okay, my base likes this. I'm just going to feed them that.
Yeah.
And I think that like we've been very intentional about creating the shit that we like.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get an audience that reflects the things that we like. That means we might get 500,000 views on an episode with Dax that is like awesome. I loved. And we might get 4 million on an episode with Donald Trump. But that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But I think there are people that have less integrity, or they just want to just make the videos that make the most money, and they're just going to run after it.
We are also a little bit privileged to be in a position where all of us have another income stream.
Yes.
So we can kind of afford to do this. Whereas some people, you have a page, your audience wants this one thing. I can only feed them this because I don't have another income stream to fall back on. So we are in a little bit privileged position. But even, I'm not even lying, part of me was intentional in posting. I didn't think I would get that much blowback, but the picture with Trump, I was like, yeah, a couple thousand might unfollow. I want those people gone. And if we were lucky enough to have a Democratic nominee, I would post a picture with them. I want the right-wing idiots to unfollow too. Y'all could go. Y'all can all go. I would like to curate an audience that's like, let's hear what someone has to say.
I just want MAGA. I am MAGA all the way. I'm a prisoner of the moment, and right now I will be a prisoner of that for the next 25 days. When is the election?
Yeah, I didn't want to ask him a question about policy. It was more so about like, how does he truly feel?
Yeah.
Because like in the 90s, early 2000s, he was loved. Like before he got into politics, everybody, both sides loved him. And so I just wanted to ask him, like, now that you got into politics and you have, you know, large groups of people deeming him as either racist or next Hitler and all that, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, I really wish you.
I wish we had 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because like I would love to know that reaction, and I'd love to know that reaction an hour and a half into the pod when he was comfortable. There was even a moment in the pod, like nobody picked up on it, but where I think I asked him, I was like, how does it feel when these people say things about you that you don't believe are true? And he goes, yeah, I don't like it, or it hurts.
Yeah, it bothers me.
He goes, it bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, you're bothered by anything?
Have you ever heard Trump admit that anything bothered him?
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder though, like, again, he's lived a fascinating life. Like, objectively, we were trying to talk about this, like, who's lived a more interesting life than him? But he's like best friends with Oprah all through like the 80s and 90s.
They're going to run together. She jokes around like, we should run for president.
Him and Howard Stern are boys, and they're hanging out doing, you know, radio together.
Yeah.
And then all of these people turn their backs on him. They're like, this guy's going to destroy the country. He's a racist piece of shit, da-da-da. I wonder if that, like, to that idea, like, I wonder if it bothers him.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Like, to that, I think what politics does is, for most people, it brings out what you believe to be the best version of yourself. In other words, what is the most altruistic version of me? And I want that represented in politics. Now, some people think that that is to be staunchly Republican. Some people believe it's staunchly Democratic, right? But it's not indicative of who you know you actually are. Because you want your politician to be the best version of you. But you lose all nuance in that. You know, and I think that's why you get a guy like Stern who's, you know, told crazy jokes and, you know, has had everybody on his pod, and like he's got, you know, strippers, you know, sitting on speakers and, you know, coming during the radio. And now he's like, I think that this guy is a piece of shit. He's a dirtbag, and how could anybody support him? And it's like, okay, well, because when it comes to politics, that's not fun. You know, the stakes are too high. So I have empathy for his position too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't write people off immediately like I did. And now that I know that it's not all how can I grift off of this moment, that people are actually impacted, especially when it comes to politics, I go, okay, maybe you're not being an asshole. This is what you think the best version of the world is, and you're going to support that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it was an awesome interview and everybody loved it. And then a day later, Dove was like, oh, by the way, the venue you're going to shoot your special in canceled your shows.
No, damn it.
I waited.
Within 3 hours.
Doug, after we interviewed him, before the episode comes out, he goes to the venue. Everybody leaves. It's on Schultz's like special team. All of them have to go to the venue, check it out. I assume everything is good.
People flew in for this.
Oh, yeah. So we've had these venues locked in for months now, something like that. Like, it's not like we might do it here. It's booked. It's ready to go. We're going on sale this week. Like, we have the entire production team come out for this is for the third time many of us are you know, spotting the venue and looking at everything. We have the set design already curated. We're moving around seating plots, camera plot. Like, it's ready to go. We're going on sale this week. And we get an email 3.5 hours out. After discussing with our board members, we don't think that it would be There's email. You'll bring it up, but don't show any emails off. But it was BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music, which is a venue they've shot tons of specials in. And 3.5 hours after the interview, they canceled shows. So, yeah, let's see if we can show the thing. Read the exact email, because they're canceling my shows, but they're also begging Live Nation to not cancel future shows with them. Like, they still want business, but they're like, just not this guy. Now, I don't know if it's a Trump interview, but the day before it came out, we were ready to go and we were going on sale this week. And 3.5 hours afterwards, we get this email.
Yeah.
First off, I want to thank you for thinking of BAM for Andrew Schultz's upcoming comedy show. We are always excited when promoters consider our space for their events. After some internal discussions with leadership, it was decided that BAM is not the right fit for this show at this time. That said, we really do appreciate you reaching out. We'd love to work with you in the future and for future events that might be a better match for BAM. So if anybody has a venue, if you've got a venue for us, that'd be really great. I'd really love to shoot this special, and that'd be really awesome.
The irony is this is your most personal special.
Yes.
Like, it's not as political as that. It's you and your journey.
Yeah, but also what's interesting about it is that, again, they canceled it 3 hours after the interview came out. So before the liberal media spun it in liberals' favor. So if they waited 2 days, they get the hero.
You're a darling
of the liberals.
You just got to send him, be like, I laughed in his face. Like, you guys not understand.
Nah, fuck them. Fuck them and fuck them forever.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You got to come to Queens, man. Brooklyn. It's no good.
Yeah, why is that?
Staten Island. I think there's a nice theater in Staten Island.
Brooklyn, I didn't know that you guys were salt. There is one, St. George Theater we're looking at.
There you go. That's what you need. You need something union, something firemen go to. You know what I mean? So, ladder 50, Staten Island. Where y'all?
I would just add something to that, just because I know I pitched what the hour was about in order to like just discuss them, get them all on the same team. There were fans of like so touched by what it's about, you know, people that know. And so I'm like, it's not like they don't think that this particular hour is going to work for them. This felt personal.
Yeah.
But they never specified, though.
Again, I can't say for sure that this is what it is. But before it came out, it was fine. Maybe after it came out, they familiarized themselves with me and then saw other things that they didn't like. That's also a possibility. But
haircut.
Yeah.
It might have been.
I was thinking that.
Fuck. Why did I do that? Fucking Dinklage. It's fucking Peter Dinklage's fault. Yeah.
So now what? You're supposed to record this, what, November?
We were supposed to record it in a month. This is,
Nice.
There's been a wrench thrown in things. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah.
You have any places in mind that you want to say out loud, or you?
I mean, we've been looking nonstop, and the tricky thing, and I guess why this is too much inside baseball, but like most venues are booked like months in advance.
Yeah.
So now you're dealing with like limited avails, but like, so we might have to do it, during a weekday. It might be a little bit more inconvenient. Hopefully everybody still comes out. That'd be really awesome.
And buy tickets very quickly, because usually these are on sale for months and months, and we're gonna have a short window.
Yeah.
And also because Andrew likes to change the seating plan in every venue he does.
Yeah,
we also have to get approvals by the city that just make everything harder.
So if you happen to own a beautiful theater in New York City or the tri-state area, and you would like to open your doors to us, MAGA!
No, that's not. We don't endorse that. We don't endorse that. We don't endorse it.
I'm what is it? My vote was up for grabs. The board of BAM has really pushed me in a direction. We have to stop this censorship.
We do have an invitation at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to do the special.
Can we shoot it there? Hasn't there been enough shootings?
Long Island, I think, is your move. That's the move.
Yes.
Long Island.
Yes,
They're going to have plenty of love for you.
Now, what if we just get Kamala on and then they'll have you back?
We would love to have Kamala on.
There you go.
We reached out to her team, and they're not really enthusiastic.
Yeah.
They don't listen to the show?
Wonder why.
I don't know why. What?
Unless he was a patron. What do you mean? I thought...
Point is, the president is going to be chosen in a few weeks, and the line is changing.
Yeah.
Looks like it's favoring Trumpito for victory right now, but you can obviously put your bread up. Stake is a place that you can gamble on sports, obviously, but I think we got something more important than sports right now.
Yeah, we do.
We have the fate of the free world.
Yep. And you can bet on it. Why not?
How wild is that?
It's crazy.
You can bet on the fate of the free world.
Really crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's really the only way you can make money, no matter who gets elected.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's some people who think they're going to make a lot more money if Kamala wins or if Trump wins, but
you're all wrong.
The individual.
This is how you make money.
This is how you profit.
Yeah.
This is how the real working class can make money off an election. Usually, you're completely forgotten. You're a tool, a cog in the machine, but not when it comes to gambling on the president.
It's empowering, really.
It sounds even crazy to say it, but Stake is the leader in global betting and U.S. social casinos. Bet on top sports and political events like our fucking presidency and use the promo code FLAGRANT for your welcome bonus. Now, it's time to get back to the show. We have more to discuss. The fate of the free world. What do you guys think is going to happen? Have you felt any change in energy?
Yeah. I felt a big change in energy toward Trump, and it's not even just our interview. I just feel like the enthusiasm that Kamala had, and this goes back and forth, but right now, the enthusiasm Kamala had seems like it's died.
And we're going to take all the credit for it, but it does happen around election time. But have you also noticed that kind of? And what do you think that is indicative of? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I think it's partially Trump doing like a big media blitz where he's just being himself, and then Kamala not doing an amazing media run. Like, I think it's, to be honest, more her sort of missteps. Like the 60 Minutes thing, I don't think worked out well. Yeah. The Call Her Daddy thing, I don't think worked out well. And I don't think it's Alex's fault necessarily. Like, I don't think it's anything she did. I just think the nature of the show and how Kamala handled the questions. Yeah, I just don't think it played well in her favor.
Yeah,
I thought she was. I thought she was good on Call Her Daddy. I thought she was more thoughtful than I
actually thought she was pretty good. I think we're just used to Trump. It's been such a long time of us seeing him say the wildest, act crazy, and now it's just like, all right, we're desensitized to the madness of what this used to be.
Yeah, I also think weirdly she's better off the cuff than when it feels very scripted.
The Oprah thing. If someone comes in my house, they're getting shot the fuck up.
That's fine. I like that.
That's what we need.
The debate, we all said it. She destroyed him.
Yeah.
Unlike, she's better off the cuff, and when it feels like, I don't know if they're a team or what, but when she tries to be very curated, specific, planned out an event, it doesn't seem to go as well. Yeah. Let her go.
I'm very curious to see her go on Fox. I think she goes on tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting because
really good move.
You know she's going to be attacked, and how she handles that is going to be very telling.
I think, and I was talking to Charlamagne about this. I think that she's better when she's being attacked.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. I'm thinking about her job.
Yeah.
It's a prosecutor.
Yeah.
Go on that.
If your job is arguing with people, if somebody's attacking you, part of your job, you don't get to be DA by being bad at arguing and being bad in the courtroom.
Indian woman.
And she's Indian.
Did I call that she would win the debate? Yeah. I was the only person.
You did.
Immediately, I was just racist enough to know she got that. Not even a fucking question.
I'm telling you.
You can't handle it. Trump melted. I live with that.
It's so funny. It's happening in real time. You're watching it like, you fell for it.
I
fell for this for 7 years. I know these tricks. But I think she can argue. I think that's part of her position. So when you attack, she just goes into instincts, which is, this is my job. This is what I've done for decades now. Here's your counter argument. Let's go. There's a moment, well, not even a moment, but like I've watched some of the interviews that she did. I mean, she did, what is the guy's name? Colbert. Then she did, there was the 60 Minutes, and then she did Call Her Daddy. And I think the unfortunate thing about a lot of these spaces, and then she even, I think, did The View a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't see much of the Stern. But I think the unfortunate thing for her is what? Well,
just the idea of her on Stern back in the day.
Yeah. Sit on that speaker, will you?
She would win. She would win for sure.
Back in the day.
Let me show you my Whoopi Goldberg impression. Yo, that skit was crazy.
Well, when Stern had the blackface on?
Yeah.
Anywho.
Dropped a couple of miles.
Wait, was he saying it? Oh, he was dropping hard on?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, boy.
Committed to the bit.
Yeah, he did.
Anywho.
I thought he was just talking about his hair.
No, I think what basically happens is, I think when you're set up in an interview that's basically been curated so you win, all you're thinking about is losing.
Oh, interesting.
Right? It's like the questions are predetermined, and you know that Colbert's looking at you and he wants you to be great and he wants his audience to love you, and they're fluffing you up, and she's not used to this, right?
Yeah.
She's a woman of color that comes up in the fucking justice system. Like she's a lawyer, she's used to like arguing and fighting with people.
Being underestimated, fighting odds, like having to go uphill. Like this is probably all new to her and all uncomfortable. And maybe you don't even trust it. Maybe you're just like, nah, something about this don't feel right because this is not what I've experienced again for decades.
We're not making excuses. Like you got to do better.
Yeah.
Like you got to win. Like you should be able to take these, puff piece interviews and then you should be able to dunk them home. That is the idea. She doesn't do well in them. And she does do well when there's some conflict, which is why I think the Fox thing is good. But I was telling Charlamagne, because Charlamagne's interviewing her, we're recording this Tuesday, he's interviewing her today, and I'm like, yo, you might have to fight with her a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think that energy is actually better for her. And verbally. Verbally. I mean, if she dodges a punch or two and then smacks Charlamagne, that might be her presidency. But I think the issue is, she doesn't do well when she's being supported. She hasn't been supported ever publicly. Like, think about it. As long as she's been on the national stage,
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
everybody has shit on her. When she's running for president, shit on her, right? Like during the Biden presidency, shit on her.
Yeah.
I don't think she knows how to be loved publicly.
And then all of a sudden, 3 months ago, we're all like, oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
And she's probably like, what? None of y'all like me before. Fuck all of you.
Because in the interviews, she does have this energy of, let me not fuck this up. What was that answer again? It seems like she's searching for the idea that she's supposed to say. And then she fucks up questions that like she should have a dialed in answer for.
Yeah.
Like pretty easy questions.
It's hard to have a dialed in answer when you just got put in this position 3 months ago.
Yeah.
3
I
months
mean,
ago.
no excuse. Like you either want to be president or
Don't
not.
run
Like,
her. Then don't run.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't.
like, seize the moment, yo.
Kind of didn't.
Nah, she won it. She's in politics for a reason. They all want it.
But be honest, if you were running for president, you would want everyone to hate you.
She also,
right?
sorry, let me clear up. Let's clear up one more thing. She ran 6 years ago.
Yes.
Did you not have a plan 6 years ago when you actually ran, announced, lost to Biden? Did you not have any? There's nothing from that you can reach for me like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's what I wanted for America 6 years ago. Has it transformed so radically? Not even 4 years ago. No, it was pandemic when she ran.
Yeah, but a lot of the stuff she ran on, they are like crucifying her for it now, like fracking and all that.
Then you
got
got to talk about it.
I mean, she kind of just switched her position on it.
She got to shit on Biden, and she's scared to shit on Biden,
Which is so crazy. Was there anything you would have done different? Nope.
Nope.
That's a
What?
That's a
Don't do
losing
that.
answer.
And if you are going to say no, explain why. Don't just say no and sit there.
Yeah.
So she's fumbling these interviews. This is my
Hard, man.
This is my take on it. This is my take on it.
Somebody get you to that position and you got shit on them.
send them down the river,
That's kind
bro.
of
Hey,
fucked
bro.
up.
Yeah,
There's a way to do it. And again,
Yeah, there's a
if
way
you're
to do
running
it,
for
but not
president,
shit on 'em.
if you're running for president, you should know the way to do it.
Yeah.
You guys are sitting there, hopefully for hours a day, saying, how do we answer this question? Because it is the number one question on everybody's mind.
That guy's dead. That's
No,
a dead guy.
that's
That's what I would say.
I think in practice, she probably has the answer queued up. And then I think she's just too, like you guys pointed out, it's like she's too afraid to
you
fail.
are really, what are you
Like, this is it.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Everybody hits the shots in practice.
Yeah,
But the superstars are decided by who hits it in the game.
I know. I'm
And
just giving her a little grace.
I know what you do.
Why can't I give
know
her
what
a
you
little
do.
grace?
I know
The
what
worst
you do.
sports analyst of all time.
Yo, give him a
You're
little
like,
grace.
in practice, this guy's so good. He's one of the best guys, but he
Alex-
just can't
Alex-
score.
He should be team captain. That's why I'm voting for him. For team
Bronny just
captain.
got to the league.
Why
Give
are
him
we
some
listening
time,
to
son.
fucking Lana Del Rey's husband?
That's a great reference.
That's a deep cut, but I like that.
That's a
I
great
need a
reference.
picture to get
Let me
it.
pull it
married
up.
a
He married
crocodile hunter.
Oh, okay.
You haven't seen this?
Oh, dude.
No, I didn't.
Huge news in the magosphere.
Yeah. We've all been
We
talking
got one.
about it. This is awesome. Lana Del Rey, the singer-songwriter. Super famous. Just
Almost as famous as Chappelle Roan. Chapel, whatever her name is. H-O-T-T-O-G-O. I got that shit. I've never not gotten it.
Wait, there's a new one of these guys? I thought he died with a stingray.
No, he's an
What?
actual. He's an actual like occupational. He doesn't have a TV show where he says crikey.
I called him Crocodile Hunter.
You think it's like a title,
Yeah.
like Crocodile Hunter?
oh, his
passes.
job is just like he hunts crocodiles.
yeah, exactly.
Why would she marry this guy?
Well, yeah, well, that's what we're all asking.
Oh, okay.
That's a man. That's what
I'm
a
just,
man
I'm
looks
just
like.
getting caught up to speed. Sorry.
When you see him in the fatigues, but when he puts on the suit, he looks nice.
Okay.
David Carr.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
But
Okay. So, So real quick, I do think that assessing the energy, the shift that we've seen, I think a little bit. There's another observation I've had, and I think there's a lot of Trump supporters in liberal cities that are terrified of like being outed as a Trump supporter, right? Like in New York, there's a lot of people who support Trump that will never let you know. They're really quiet about it. It's like on some Fight Club shit. Like, I don't know about Fight Club. And then if you go, I'm going to Fight Club, you're like, all right, Fight Club's kind of fire. I go there a lot. And what happened is when Biden was running, he was so decrepit that they got to pretend that they were supporting Trump because it was the best thing for the country. I don't like the guy, but it's Biden's so old, I can't possibly vote for him. So they like masqueraded as like, it's the lesser of two evils. Yeah. When deep down, they always liked Trump, but they were just worried what their coworkers would say, et cetera, right? Yeah. Not me at all. So what happened is when Kamala comes in, there's this huge media push and there's all this positive energy and they get terrified. They go back in the closet. They're like, fuck, I guess she's really good. And we'll see what happens in the election. But they never stop supporting Trump. She does a few interviews that are not the greatest. And then Trump does a few interviews that are really fun. And I think all of a sudden they got a little bit more bold. Then they started giving Kamala the Biden treatment. Like, she can't even answer a question. She doesn't even know what she's doing out there. Like, I think, unfortunately, we'll have to go for Trump. But they were never not voting for Trump. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not me.
I know it sounds like what I would just say.
Where'd you hear this from?
I'm searching for the man in the mirror. Is it searching for?
I'm looking at the man.
Well, I'm searching for.
Yeah, what's in your mirror? Are you a fucking vampire? Where are these guys? How the hell is supposed to be in this thing? Speaking of which, can we share the story that Trump told me, presidential orders, that I had to tell you guys?
Oh, yes, please.
This is awesome.
Tell us.
Well, this is technically, the first part of the story was told to you by someone else.
Oh, yes, please.
But you should tell it because
which story? Because I have no clue what you're talking about.
Talking about.
I'm about to have the other 3 milligrams of this in right now.
When Michael Jackson was living in Trump Tower. Also, why do you hold like your Winston Churchill? Like you have this stogie. He's just like waving around.
So that's fire. Holding it between your fingers. That's fire.
No, you just put your gums on. You just.
Yeah, you just kind of.
That's how you action.
Yeah, you action. Every drop, you're just getting a jolt right to the brain.
Okay, go.
No, you were telling us that this guy named
Michael
Don
Jackson
Jr.
lived next door to him.
Yeah.
And in Trump Tower, and like he would like come over and like play like video games with the kids. Yeah. You know, Don Jr. I was doing research. I was asking like as many people I knew that were close to him to just give me like personal stories. And Don told a story about they were playing remember the Ninja Turtles game for Nintendo? You probably remember. You might be old enough to remember
the arcade version.
There was a Nintendo.
To the arcade game or something like that. It was fire.
But they also had it for Nintendo. Yeah. And like Don Jr. would tell me like that they never got, they had to work for anything that they got, or it was a Christmas present. But that was like the rule in the Trump family. And they had saved up and they got this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. And they were playing it, and it was the coolest fucking game. And him and Eric are playing it. And then Michael would come over, and he was like, Michael's just kind of like a kid, and he would play some.
You guys playing games?
Yeah, exactly. So then he would play video games with them, right? Yeah. And and Trump is just there like, yeah, he's never done anything weird. And he was playing, and Mike was like, "This is the greatest game ever. I've never. Oh my God, what an amazing game!"
Did you say teenage?
Of course he would like that one. And Don said that Trump walked in the room and was like, "Michael, you like the game?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's the best game ever." And Trump goes, "Take it." And what any adult would do is go, "I can't take it from these kids." Michael went, "Thank you, Donald." And just left, right? So we were talking to Trump afterwards. We asked him, what was it like living next to Michael?
Yeah.
And then he goes.
And he was like, oh, it was amazing. He was the best guy ever. So sweet. But that Pepsi commercial really really kind of changed who he was fundamentally.
And we go, what?
And then
I completely forget about this all the time.
And then Trump locked eyes with me and he goes, "You know the Pepsi story." And I was like, "Yes, sir." I was like, I had attention. I was like, "Whatever you need." And
Mark was like -8 years old when that commercial came out. He has no fucking clue what happened.
He looks at me and goes, "Special orders from the president. Tell these guys the Pepsi story." And then Trump drifted away. And I felt such a pressure for the past week and a half just to share this with you guys.
He basically said that like...
So what's the Pepsi story?
I forgot to look it up. But it's been weighing on me though.
Wow.
No, 1986. Michael Jackson does another commercial for Pepsi. Commercial number 2.
Professor Gagnon in the building.
Let's go.
And a firework goes off, burns his head, second-degree burns. Apparently, according to the article I read, due to the Jerry curl cream that he was using at the time.
Oh, they blame him, huh?
Yeah, right?
They don't blame the firework.
Oh, what
that
was he
landed on his
wearing?
Fucking head. Always with black
fucking
people.
ethanol in his
Even
hair.
kind of black. Yeah.
Yeah, he was black at the time.
that's
he was
true.
black at the time.
Yeah, this is apparently the thing that
trans at the time.
no, apparently, which also this is a debate we need to have.
yeah.
Me and Alex were talking about this. Which Michael made better music, white or black? But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Basically,
question.
hair catches on fire, second degree burns. Him and his brothers, they put it all out, and
You
then
see Dove, look at, he's just listening to the story. He's like, see, sometimes the missiles go to the wrong place. See, sometimes there's oopsie daisies all over the time.
yeah, why did he answer the beaver so close to his head? Anyway,
There you go.
he catches on fire. They put it out, and then he gets treatment
Did
for
you hear
it.
that, Dove? They put it out. They put it out. Okay, go on.
And,
They put out the fire.
it was from
They
that-
don't videotape it in HD and
He
put it
had
all over
chronic
Twitter.
pain from the injury and then was put on drugs from that. And then he never shook the drug addiction. And then it also affected his self-image, which then caused him to get a ton of surgeries, and which ultimately led to his death.
I had no clue.
I did not know the lasting impact.
Mr. President,
I thought everyone knew.
I fulfilled my duty.
But you knew that I knew that he
that
got
was what
hit,
caused
but I didn't
everything?
know that there were these like super severe burns on his body.
Yeah, I knew
The
about
Jackson 5 movie.
Yeah, I know. Where the
You
fuck
watch
is-
that every year. The series.
No, I didn't watch
5-part.
that movie. No.
Alex, did you watch that?
Yes, I did.
No.
Come on.
I didn't know that it really affected his self-image, and that's where the surgery started coming from.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's not true. Like he was already doing surgeries before that, but it fucked up his hair, and he cared about his hair a lot.
Right.
Especially he's a performer and shit. So
Of course, yeah.
But
Well, there
Damn,
you
I
go.
thought we got like an inside take.
no, maybe the drug started during that time. That could be real.
Yeah,
We don't know when the drug started.
Got it.
But no one finds it a little weird that Michael Jackson's hanging out alone with his 2 young
But we didn't
sons?
know. I'm not even like I remember that Ninja Turtles game that came out like
Nobody
19.
finds that weird.
No, well, here's the thing.
Hey,
We-
grown man, come hang and play video games.
But
like
don't
two
you
young-
like
Turtles
no,
for
real
everyone,
talk.
bro.
30 years ago, we didn't think that like now we're like keenly aware that there's pedophiles like way more than we thought they were when we were younger.
Yeah.
30 years ago, and this is also before any accusations. That I remember that game coming out. I was in like first, second grade.
But what do you think that Don Jr. and Eric are thinking right now that they weren't chosen? You know what I
Dad.
mean? Like,
It's because their father protected them. He like took the disc, was like, "Go fucking take it, never come back."
He said, "Play these games
Yeah.
at your crib."
Yeah, never come back.
Yeah.
And Don's like, "Where's my game?" And his dad's like, "I just saved your life.
Yeah.
You have no idea what I just did for
I
you."
saved your butthole, bro.
Yeah,
Ain't
you
that
almost saw a
crazy?
different turtle. Watch out, dude. Turtle power.
All right, guys, let's listen. We've been having our Whoop competition. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we find out who's winning the Whoop competition?
Yes. Not you,
Mark.
Schultz. You slept from 1:41 a.m. to 6:03 last night.
I did. Wait, I went to sleep at 1:41.
Yeah, and you got up at 6:03 this morning. Your baby gets up at 6. You said that, right?
Yeah, but how'd you know I got up at what? No, I didn't. I got up at 4:15.
Oh, I see the spike where you did get up. It looks like you got a little more.
Let me tell you something. These women have a baby. They think they're the only ones that can sleep again. They don't get. I tried to complain to my wife and our baby nurse this morning. I was like, man, I didn't get any sleep. I woke up at I woke up at 4 a.m. And then my wife's initial response to that was, I woke up at 6 and you were passed the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I woke up at 6:30. You were passed the fuck out. I was like, yeah, I think I must have slept until like 6:15 or something like that. Or no, went back. I don't know what the fucking timing was.
That was a cool story, man.
Whoop, there it is.
Guys, I'm trying to deliver straight heat for this Whoop segment, but I don't have it. I don't have it because my recovery's low.
Yeah.
Super low.
My recovery is low.
Mark is winning with a baby. That's
I
crazy.
know. That is
Something's
correct.
off, yo.
I'm at 5 hours a night the last 3 nights, which is a step up for me.
What have you been going to 5? What do you think you've been doing differently?
I just sleep in now. I just if I got shit in the morning, I'm missing it.
Really?
Because I'll wake up at like 4 in the morning or whatever, and before I'd just be like, all right, well, I'll just get up at like 7:30 and do work. And now I'm like, nah, I'm sleeping. If I fall asleep at 7, I'm out till 10. Who cares?
I think you should do that.
Yeah.
I think you should do that.
Yeah.
Your energy seems higher, I will say.
Yeah.
You're just nocturnal. You're not insomniac. You're just not. You're supposed to sleep during the day.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, you're like a
Look,
little
your stupid
salamander.
fucking green whoop scores drive me crazy.
Yeah, 185 heart rate variability, which apparently is good.
That's
What does that mean?
insane. How do you have such low stress in your life? Heart rate variability is directly linked to stress. The higher the number, the less the stress. I was at 37 with no baby. What the fuck this guy got going on?
I don't know. I'm not complaining ever again.
Here's the reality. I am going to stop. I'm obviously doing Sober October, but I'm really going to sober up around the last week and beat you guys the whole month.
Come back like tortoise in the hair type of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My plan is to continue sleeping shitty and just really throw Whoop for a loop. You know what I mean?
Yo, are you going to throw Whoop for a
I'm
loop?
throwing Whoop for a loop.
Yeah,
dude.
I kind of like Whoop.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know who, dude, bitches love Whoop. I remember I tried to get the bartender's attention once. I was like going to not drink and I was like trying to, and then
She just put her mouth over your whole fist.
dude, she swallowed it up to the Whoop.
No way.
Yeah, like a bass.
Yeah.
Like she just jumped
noodle?
out like that. I had to take it out of her mouth. I was like, Mark's grandma, what are you doing at this bar? Sorry.
Join.whoop.com. Join.whoop.com.
Southern catfish right there.
Join.whoop.com/flagrant. All right.
Yeah, join.whoop.com/flagrant.
You'll get a gift basket if you sign up.
Gift basket. They got a gift. Don't you want a gift basket? Don't you want a gift basket? Dead ass. Listen, outside of getting your health back, outside of measuring your HRV, one letter away from something you never want to have to measure, you will get a gift basket. For real.
Yeah.
Okay, but sir, we got to get back to the pod. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. Guys, being in debt negatively impacts every aspect of your life, okay? Especially now with interest rates and the cost of living at all-time high. The problem is that getting out of debt is very difficult and there are no good solutions until now. PDS Debt has customized options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, this program is for you. PDS Debt rolls all of your payments into one low, zero interest monthly payment. Everyone with $10,000 or more in debt qualifies, and there is no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit accepted. You can save thousands in interest and fees and pay off your debt in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt is giving our qualified listeners a free debt savings analysis just for completing the 30-second online debt assessment at pdsdebt.com/flagrant. You will receive a full breakdown on how to save on interest each month and the quickest way to take care of your debt. Now, there's a special offer right now, okay? Start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/flagrant. It only takes 30 seconds. That is pdsdebt.com/flagrant. pdsdebt.com/flagrant. Take back your financial freedom today by visiting pdsdebt.com/flagrant. Now let's get back to the show. Anyway, so Christopher Columbus is a Jew.
Yeah, isn't that so convenient? Thank God. I felt
Mark
so
thinks
guilty.
that this is Russian election interference.
$1,000,000%. It's also
Take us
exonerating
to
white
camp,
people.
Mark. Take us to camp.
I'm saying
Why?
because it's basically stoking racial feelings in America. There's already animosity between Americans with, just like Christian Americans that support Israel, and then obviously Jews in America that support Israel. And then you have Palestinian Americans, Arab Americans, Black Americans that don't like Israel, and therefore that turns an anti.
You could just say white people versus non-white people.
Yeah.
You
the
could really
whites
just
versus
say that.
the losers, all right? And it's become a whole fucking thing.
Yeah,
right?
wow. It's a big proxy war, huh?
Exactly. So
Interesting.
Russia benefits from there being dissent in the United States. So what do? They publish an article on Columbus Day. Hey, Christopher Columbus actually isn't white. He's a Jew. Exonerating white people.
So now
putting
I don't
more
have to
blame
feel
on
bad
Jews.
about Native Americans because it was really Christopher Columbus, the Jews, that did it.
Yeah. The Jews did Native American genocide.
Before I had to feel bad about what Christopher Columbus did to the Native Americans.
Yeah.
And it fucking killed me.
Yeah. You were losing sleep.
I would lose sleep.
You had a dream
every
catcher
Columbus-
over your fucking bed just to catch all the sleep you were losing. Is that too far, Dove? After what you did to these people?
You know what? We're so sorry. I'm actually mad that we used to celebrate them and now it's Indigenous Day. I was like, oh, wow.
I
he's
haven't
Jewish.
made that transition. Do you call it Indigenous Day?
I'd never cared about the
Kamala
day.
did.
As soon as I graduated and it stopped being a holiday, I didn't give a fuck about the day. Like, it never mattered to me.
You like those days
We
off.
haven't got holidays off here in a long time.
Labor Day, we laboring.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's about it.
I mean,
a
we
good
just
point.
did a show in Columbus, Ohio. It wasn't Indigenous Ohio. You know what I mean? Like, I
be a
feel like
good
Columbus
name.
Day is still, alive and well. Or Columbus, at
The
least.
District of Columbia.
That's fact. They got to change that.
They
Good
should.
point.
Yeah.
The District of.
Is that, no, not good.
Do you believe it's true?
Do the Jews run Washington, D.C.?
I've heard
It's
that.
named after.
A famous Jew.
APEC?
A famous Jew.
Y'all are really crazy, dude.
One of the
it's
most famous Jews ever. What the fuck? That's
funny.
crazy.
Here in the States, nobody wants to claim Christopher Columbus, but in Europe, everybody's fighting.
He was Italian. He was Portuguese. He was really from Spain.
Like,
Spain
he was
wants
not
to-
right.
everybody-
But that is actually the
It's so
battle.
funny.
It's between the Italians and the Spaniards.
Yeah.
And we're just like, kind of makes sense because Sephardic Jews are from, I'm literally from 45 minutes from
Yeah,
where.
cut to
I know, I was
what
waiting for
else?
you to just
Something
like-
happened. Cut
Moroccan
this. Hey, can you cut this? Cut this from the whole episode, and then can you take this part and then just light it on fire and send me a video? Thank you very much. Okay, but all right, we have
Christopher
to-
Columbus apparently was sailing west to find riches.
Did you
Checks out.
not know?
No, I thought
Saying
he,
that's very Jewish of him.
I thought he was going to kill Native Americans, but turns out he was looking for gold.
I got you good.
This is pretty Jewish.
You know what? If I don't want to add to this conspiracy, but 1491 is the Spanish Inquisition, right? They kick all the Jews that won't convert out of Spain. Some say that they took all their money, and that's why they were able to go on these extravagant trips around the world to explore. But another way of framing it is, hey, if you're going to be a Jew and you're going to stay here, you're going to go find another way to get to India so we can get these spices. You better go. So maybe he was like a prisoner of the monarchy, and he was punished with this trip to India.
I just looked it up. Isabel and Ferdinand also Jews. So they're all Jews. Everyone's, yep,
Isabel and Ferdinand, you're talking about the king and queen of...
of Spain that sent them over there. Everyone's Jews.
Are they really?
That was according to the Candace Owens' Twitter that I was just
Doesn't it make it easier though? Like it is life. There's so many variables in life, and if you could just distill them down to one, right? Like it just makes anything inconvenient to you.
You know the glasses you were talking about before, the
Yes.
worldview? It just, the Jews
Fine.
did it, and you put it on.
Jesus, I will die for your sins, guys. Just keep on throwing it at us.
Another
Jesus,
Jew.
big Jew.
Fucking never ends with you guys.
It really doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Okay. Anything else? Anything else you guys learned? Anything else you want to reflect on? Who do you think wins the election?
I think Trump, he might have it. He's
Wow.
like, I know polls are shit, but he's doing better in polls now than he did in 2016 and 2020.
And he tends to overperform relative to polling on election day.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Now, some states, apparently like Wisconsin last time they had Trump winning by like 16, 17 points. And then I'm pretty sure he lost it or barely won it in 2020.
Yeah.
But so I guess polling is off on both sides. But it does, the energy right now feels like it's toward Trump. I'm not even, Kamala needs to do more fun podcasts. Like this
She
would be
tried to do
perfect.
Call of Duty. What is it called?
Call of Duty.
What is it? Call of Duty.
It's called Modern Warfare.
But
Call
the
of
fun
Duty.
that,
Call of Duty.
but she can't have.
What's the name of the podcast?
Call her daddy.
Call her
Trying
daddy.
to bring duty talk back up.
But she tried to do Call her daddy
Yeah.
and have a good conversation. Yo, she should have asked her about the Gluck.
That's, yeah,
Like that would have been a good likable.
that ass.
Yeah.
And that is a lesson that every
I don't want my
politician-
president sucking dick though. Yo, Doug
that's a good
Emhoff, her husband. Another one.
Yeah, he found an Indian. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but we got to tell him like if she does get elected, ain't no sucking. Like I'm not gonna have my president sucking during. You know what I mean? If I'm married, I'm not getting it.
Nah, I want that. I
Yeah.
want her to set the example. You want your wife to know, hey, you could be president. You suck on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Because then we get to go to our girls like, yo, come
Yeah,
on.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, look.
Oh, you're tired?
Yeah,
She's
be
the
the-
president.
She's exhausted. You've been up all night with a baby, whatever.
Yeah.
Your mouth not up.
She's been up all night with 300 million babies.
Yeah, be more presidential, man.
Yeah.
yeah. That's
That is
good.
crazy, getting head from the president.
That's fire.
That's
Yo, shout out to Dougie Fresh.
bonkers. Was it Dougie Fresh or was Montel? Was it both of them?
Well, Doug Emhoff. Obviously. Fresh.
okay.
But obviously, don't do that. Only do it if you really want to, and it makes you feel good.
Feminist.
I'm a feminist. Dude.
Respect.
I have a daughter.
Girl dad.
Yeah, I can't let her grow up in some dick sucking world. What? You know, with a president out here
Yeah.
glucking.
Oh, man.
So,
But can a male president go down on his girl?
nah.
Like, can Trump eat a box?
I'm actually aligned with that.
A
I'm
male
aligned.
stand-up comedian podcaster can't do that. How the fuck is a president gonna pull that off? Are you? I talk for a living. I can just push my nose into it after a long day. We call that scissoring.
I feel like the right is taking back whole shit.
Talk to us.
Because like, oh right, yeah, the left used to be liberals, be free the nipple, all that shit, and now the right is you got Hawk Tuah girl, you got Carpenter, you got all these like kind of.
I think right.
Do you think?
I think you just think white people are right.
I mean, nah, but
She's a carpenter. She's got a union job.
She's a worker.
is Trump.
She works late.
No, who's the other one? There's another one.
No, you got it.
With the big tits on Euphoria.
Sydney Sweeney.
There you go.
She's right wing.
Yeah.
She's diehard. She's all right.
Yeah.
You haven't seen her at the Unite the Right rally?
Hollywood actress Sydney Sweeney is right
Her
wing.
family's apparently MAGA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
She
you
was in
can't-
Charlottesville with the tiki torch, saying they're not going to replace her.
super MAGA, bro.
Yes.
Just because her family's MAGA doesn't make her awesome.
Yeah. Wait, what? What'd you say?
No,
I'm
it's
just saying, like, yeah, obviously her family's really cool and smart and interesting, but that doesn't mean that she is. She could be another liberal cuck in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I like this. I like this, Andy. Trump really made Andrew great again.
I know, right? This is good. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know how I'm going to vote, but if you keep
think they
canceling
take it
venues,
back.
like, what am I supposed to do?
That
Like,
is true.
I'm against censorship of me. Do you guys not stand with me?
There are guys in New York City that, secretly like Trump, but then when their venues get canceled, they just have to be like, oh, what do I do? Like,
I have to be a hero and stand up against censorship.
yeah, they're
Do you know
trying
what I
to
mean?
cancel us.
He doesn't poop himself, and he's really smart. Okay, he's got it all locked together, and obviously free Israel or whatever position he takes. Palestine, which one is it?
Yeah. No, he likes Israel. No, he rides with Israel.
He rides with Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. Dove.
Dove made him sign his fucking Jew. His
I'll
fucking,
support anyone who gives you a
banned
venue.
Dove.
his Jew shield.
I was so
He did,
disappointed in you.
Dove went right up to him. He's like, "Can you sign my yarmulke?"
Like, you should have just got on your knees at that point, bro.
You should have had him sign
Like
your
tits, bro. What the fuck?
I'm a hero in my community right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if Dove goes MAGA, he will find a wife. I genuinely believe that. I think if you go MAGA, you find a wife.
hot blonde bombshell.
You mean if he goes openly MAGA?
Openly MAGA, he finds a wife.
Yeah.
It's right here, Dove.
Right there.
Moment. Just be honest.
Who do you think got badder chicks? I mean, if we're gonna have like a real sophisticated conversation,
Yeah.
who do you think are more attractive, Kamala supporters or Trump supporters?
I don't think it's a question.
Kamala.
No.
Really.
Yeah.
Dude.
Really.
Because she has more women supporters.
No, Al's just into trans.
You've been to a Trump rally? It's all fucking guys that look like Mark in 30 years.
I didn't say hotter guys.
But I'm just saying.
Hold on.
You just
hold on.
You got
We gotta stop right
less
here. I
women.
said, who got hotter people? And then you were like, dude, all the guys are so ugly. This is more MAGA.
I said if you go to a Trump rally, everyone
yeah.
looks like
How would you
30.
know?
Which one did you go
How
to?
would you know?
I mean,
That's where he got his pants.
hold on, I gotta do some surveillance, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Trump fans are probably hotter.
Ow.
But you gotta pull out with them. You gotta wear a condom. They're gonna keep it.
They might keep it. But we might have swayed Trump.
Yeah, it's true.
We might have swayed him. He was thinking about Barron, dude.
Yeah.
I think
Bearing his dick in some girl. I'm sorry.
honestly, I think we might be able to get that Roe v. Wade back. I'm thinking Roe v. Wade's coming back.
This is a Schultz awesome hot
I think Roe v. Wade is coming back. I've been
time.
thinking about it.
Undertaker.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
That's good. I thought I had a bad take, but thank you.
be honest.
You bailed me out. So.
It's coming
I
back.
never
Roe v.
had
Wade's
less
coming.
faith than I do right now in this moment.
No, but think about it. I'm going to say it with more conviction.
Oh, that's what I did.
Yeah,
Oh, you just
yeah.
gotta say it over.
Honestly, I think if Trump wins, I think we're gonna get Roe v. Wade too. I think we get Roe v.
Bigger and
Wade
better.
too. Bigger. Yeah. I really think Roe v. Wade's coming back. Because what are we? We're one Supreme Court justice away.
Yeah.
I think we're a couple, right?
Just agree.
Just say yeah. Yes.
Fuck are you even doing?
Come on.
Out of your fucking mind.
Come on. It's Roe v. Wade too.
Okay, Roe v. Wade too. Yeah, okay.
Roe v. Wade. We could even rename it. We could name it something else.
What you want to name it?
I don't know. What do you want to name it? You know the best. How do we get Roe v. Wade back?
Alex versus Wade?
Wait, was Roe the one that got
I don't know, I guess. I got 50-50 chance. All right, guys, listen up, because you can't get marijuana everywhere, but you know you can get in a lot more places, Delta 8, Delta 9. If you want to get those kind of products, we got you covered. You go to deltaclouds.com. That's clouds with a Z. They have got all your favorite brands of gummies, hemp products, pre-rolls, disposables, and cartridges at exceptionally discounted prices. They're offering you $35 off right now, plus free, fast, discreet shipping on all orders over $125. And on top of that, because you listen to this podcast and we always give you something extra, you can get an extra 15% off your order if you use the code FLAGRANT and you order 4 products or more. That's right. You can end up paying $76 for like $125 worth of products and free shipping. This coupon also applies to every order, not just your first. So take full advantage. And they've also mentioned that they'll throw in a free 700 milligram double XL THC welcome gummy. I'm going to be honest, you got a real problem if you need 700, but they're giving it to you for free. So you got nothing to lose. And if you're me, you just break that up into about 150 pieces and you get high for months. So just go ahead and use the code FLAGRANT at deltaclouds.com. That is DELTACLOUDZ.com. DELTACLOUDZ.com. Start saving right now. Also, guys, if you're not a fucking moron, you should know this, but you got to be 21 or older to purchase. And DeltaClouds.com only ships Delta products to legal states. So let's get back to the show.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second because, listen, I got to tell you about Magic Spoon. Big problem with cereal. Big issue with the cereal lobby, with cereal in general.
Big cereal?
Big cereal. They've been skimping out on protein, and they've been sugaring it up. They've been sugaring it up, and they've been sucking out all the protein. The protein has been sucked right out of it. Well, Magic Spoon is not having that. Magic Spoon is delivering protein-packed cereal, the delicious flavors of your childhood. All those delicious flavors of your childhood, it's there, but now it's got the protein that hasn't been sucked out by big cereal. They have turned their super popular cereal into high-protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like those classic crunchy cereal bars. They are treats. Don't you want a treat? Don't you want a little treat? Look at you, sitting at home just watching a podcast thinking, oh, if I had a little treat, what would it be like? Well, Magic Spoon's gonna just fix that problem for you right now. Put a little treat right in your mouth. With all the sugar sucked right out and all the protein spit back in. You get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/flagrant, or look for Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/flagrant for $5 off. $5 off. That's the inflation taken off, and even more than that. You don't have to complain about cereal prices at all. The sugar sucked right out, protein pumped back in. This is a no-brainer, and it's in a cereal bar. You're welcome. Magic Spoon. Hold on to the dream. Let's get back to the show.
Were you anxious before the interview?
No.
Because you seemed eerily calm. I was throwing up in the bathroom 2 nights before. You were so calm. And I was like, this is nuts, dude.
No, dude.
He's like, I'm going to be my hero in today.
So usually in a situation like that, when you are meeting somebody that you're really excited to meet and you think really says everything correctly, you're nervous, right?
Yeah.
But no. In all seriousness, I thought I was really well prepared. Usually nerves for me are about lack of preparation. So if I'm nervous for a pod, I know I didn't prepare. I know I didn't like watch enough podcasts with them. I don't know their flow. I don't have like good questions, and I can't back up the things I want to ask. Yeah. And but for this, I put some time in. I was like, I kind of want to understand what he's going to do. Like I knew that he can steamroll. I know I thought that we could control the conversation a little bit better, but he's a force. He'll just talk whenever he wants to.
He steamrolls.
Yeah, but I felt kind of really comfortable, and it was the feeling I had afterwards was, who is a bigger guest than that? Yeah, like is there somebody bigger than that?
Obama.
I don't think he is now.
Fuck out of here.
I would love to sit down with Obama. Don't get me wrong.
Fuck out of
But like, I don't think he's bigger. I don't.
Fucking crazy.
This is lenses.
Nah.
I think if you go back during Obama's heyday, of course, he's the most famous person on the planet. But I think now, I don't think Obama's bigger than Trump.
I think he still controls the party.
I agree with you. But in terms of like worldview right now, I think because Trump is running for president,
Number of
he's more
headlines
relevant.
that this podcast generated versus, I mean, I would love to have Obama. I would fucking love it. But yeah, number of headlines, I think Trump is just going to garner more headlines. He just is an attention-grabbing human being.
Son,
He
you
says
heard that?
the thing that
They
gets
said you
attention.
can't do numbers. That's
Yeah.
that's what they're saying. They said, let's get and see.
Prove us wrong. I would
Yep.
love to be proven wrong. Come on. I would love to be proven wrong. I think we'd have the best interview with him. I think I walked out feeling like we had the best interview you can have with Trump.
Yeah, I think it was his best interview.
And I thought we asked, for the most part, what we wanted to ask. I think all of us probably had one or two things we would wish we could have gotten in. But again, you're finite time. He can steamroll. You want to make sure he knows this is a friendly space or like a friendly enough space. We're not just trying to do gotcha moments, dunk on you. All things considered, I just walked up being like, that was great.
Yeah, I felt really good about it. I felt really good about it. It is a tough thing to pivot out of conversation about politics now because I feel like it's the only thing that America cares about probably for the next month. And then we'll move on pretty quickly unless there's another like event. Hopefully there's not.
Yeah.
But if there's a peaceful transfer of power, then Americans get back to caring about sports or whatever else is, actually important in our everyday lives. But everything gets viewed, through these lenses right now. So
Yeah.
it's like, what are we going to talk about? The fucking Jets game?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is important to you guys right now? Mark had a kid. None of us want to hear about
Yeah,
that
who
shit.
gives a shit? Who fucking cares, bro?
Should have had the kid doing this.
Yeah, right?
Yankees and the Mets are in the playoffs.
Yo, nobody cares about that shit. Listen, I try to. Mark is so ready to be out. I tried to tell Mark, I was like, listen, he's not coming on the road this week. And I'm like, but the next weekend after, we only have one. We're going to Utah. There's 2 shows. Like, it's a far trip to go for one day. If you want to just take another week off, that's totally fine. And Mark looks at me, he goes, I'll be there.
You try to reverse psychology me.
I go, you don't need
you
to.
try.
You can be
This is
with
your
your
fault.
family. You
This
can
is
be
your
with your
fault.
new
You're
child.
making me a bad dad. I was trying to be a good dad with my child, and you were like, "Oh, just stay home." Hey, you know what,
You're
Mark? You just stay
fucked up.
home. And now he's gonna grow up without a father.
Right? Watch this. If it was up to me, I would stay home.
I'm fucking staying home. I'm not fucking leaving.
His wife's gonna see this like, you had the chance to stay home.
Mark's reading the reviews of the show. He's like, that Derek Poston guy's killing it.
so good.
Derek, you crushed, bro.
No,
you crushed.
come
Oh my
on.
God,
Come
Milwaukee
on.
show.
Two-person
Derek,
show,
stop
dog.
it.
Two-person show is the way.
Two-person
It's
shows
the
are
way.
nice, right?
It's the way. And I brought that up in the pod last week. Multiple people DM me like, yeah, I never even care how many people are on the show.
No,
I just-
that's not true.
Damn, bro.
It's like
Don't
a
let them
play.
do that to
You
you.
need first, middle, ending.
That's what
Yeah.
we think.
Yeah.
No,
They
that's
don't
what.
care.
It's the natural order. It's the
They're
cosmic.
probably like, damn, we got out in a more timely fashion.
No.
I thought this show would go longer.
Oh my God, Derek, your new stuff is so fucking funny.
Wait, what
too.
new stuff?
Oh my God,
What
let me
new
look at
stuff?
that camera too.
What new
Derek,
stuff?
your new stuff is so fucking
What-
good.
can we
It's
cut this out?
incredible.
Can we
We just
cut
had you do double the time. Fucking murdered.
No, let's cut this out. Come on, let's cut it out. What new stuff? What new
But no,
stuff?
tell us about your
What-
kid that sleeps all day. Like, what is the...
Greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Who needs a career, right? Like, why does it even matter if I'm doing comedy ever again? You know what I mean? Like, nothing matters.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
No, it's great.
And
Best time of my life.
What's the
Never
thing
been
you're
happier.
doing? You're like rubbing beef oil on you or some shit like that?
No, it's beef tallow. Okay, it's
Don't say that like it makes it more normal.
it's not beef oil.
Like, we're misunderstanding it now.
It's
all
beef
cleared up.
tallow. Okay. No, it just rejuvenates your skin. It
Fucking
makes you look
perfect couple
younger.
over here.
I mean, I've never looked younger.
What are you talking about?
I've been letting my body in beef tallow,
But why? For what reason?
so I can look good for my son.
Wait, why do you want to look good for your son?
No, I've just been using it because the last couple of weeks I got a jar. Alicia's been using it, and I was like, "Let me try," and I like how it makes me feel.
Why? What is the purpose of it?
Yeah.
Is what we're asking. You
It's like it
fucking idiot.
moisturizes your skin, makes you feel good.
Oh, it's like mud.
Yeah. You know.
Indians have never beaten these mud allegations. Every day I get a new video. It's kind of crazy. We need to put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Why? Our skin is fantastic.
That is true. Actually, fucking A, they do incredible
Y'all could
skin.
use some mud, be honest with you.
We do the mud masks.
Yeah,
Do the mud
literally.
bath. Y'all do mud baths.
You go to the Dead Sea, what do? Mud it up. White people take their trucks, what do? Muddy. You know what I mean?
But y'all got to get out of the car and do the mudding. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, we're just scared.
Yeah. I mean, beef tallow is just as crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, to you.
I feel like you did that shit to offend me twice, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, do you have any observations on being a dad, or having a kid?
I texted you a bunch.
On Camp Gagnon, you can see all of them.
Come on, no, we can share it here.
Go listen to Camp Gagnon this week.
No, you want to talk about it.
No.
This is how much I know he wants to talk about it because he was like,
tell us right now. Top 5 conspiracies about being a dad this week.
Come on. There are a lot of conspiracies. The medical industry is lying to you. Okay.
Oh, yeah, watching him go down this one is fun.
Medical industry is lying.
Go. What is this one?
And God is great. Just remember both those things.
No, it is great. You went back to church for the first time in a while.
I did. Didn't
And how
bring
was
the
it?
kid though.
Oh, why not?
He was
You want to
crying.
get fucked?
Why
Still not all the way back in.
Yeah.
Still not all the way back
What
in.
is my thought?
You need to vet it, right?
Yeah.
You need to see who's really here.
Yeah.
What's up with these altar boys? Why
Scope it
their
out.
hands shaking?
Bro, it's so funny talking to the guy that does like the collection basket. I was talking to him after about church, and he was like, it's just this old guy, Italian dude. He's like, oh, back in the 80s, this thing was packed wall to wall. You couldn't even get a seat. Now it's just fucking 6 homos and a homeless lady. I'm like, what? He's like describing the church. He's like, this whole thing's gone to shit.
Really?
Yeah, he was pissed off.
Did you ask him if he knows who the best tippers are?
What do you mean?
He does the basket, right?
Tidying.
Okay.
Who ties the most?
Tipping.
Yeah, you tip it. You did a good job, guy. Or whatever. You know,
Fire sermon.
but that is kind of what it is, right? It's like, yo, God, this week you did a
That
good
is
job.
what
I'm
they'll
alive
say in the
again.
South, though. Why to waiters? They'll be like, "Why'd I have to give you 15% if I only give God 10?"
That's kind of fun.
Bars. Because God doesn't know about inflation, okay? That's one of the
There was
biggest
a comic from Dallas. I forget what he was. He said he's a waiter, and that's what he would hear a lot. And then he would say to them back, because one of us is real.
Disrespectful.
Damn. Rude. Damn.
Wrong.
Yeah.
So tell us about your
No,
experience.
I didn't ask
in
him about the
church.
tipping situation, but he did come up to me with the fucking stick 8 times with the basket on it. Like,
How much did you tip? You just had a kid.
they didn't do tap. If they did boop, if I could tap to pay, then I would have. But
You just had a child. Your first time back in
I
the
didn't
job.
bring cash. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have cash on my kid. It's so dirty and
Where did you
nasty.
think you were
So he
going?
gets paid minimum wage, bro.
well, my kid does not get paid.
No, God gets paid on tips, bro. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
fucked
not
up.
gonna carry money, put it on my hand, and then touch my child. Okay.
Yeah, you could just wash your hands. You fucking
put
nincompoop.
beef grease on you.
There's nothing more natural. There's nothing more natural than beef grease, okay? And he's come to love the smell, for the record. He takes a nap on my chest and wakes up and just pulls his whole head away. It's fucking just down.
Like you're sleeping on leather.
Yeah, dude, like he's on a slip and slide. It's insane.
Why are you giving your kid facial?
That is
This shit is crazy.
Okay, are you allowed to make decisions for the child yet, or
Too many.
what?
Just give me the kid. She's like, I'm gonna take a shower. If he starts crying, just don't tell me. I'm like, okay.
How the fuck do you get that? I feel like I'm a kid. My wife don't let me do shit with this kid. I gotta ask, like, can I give her a dried cranberry? And my wife would be like, half of one. Wait, so you just get to do whatever you want with your kid?
Whoa, not whatever I want.
Where's
okay?
your brain going?
I'm not gonna give him a
Catholic place.
cranberry. I'm not gonna give him a cranberry. He can't
Okay.
eat yet.
Okay, fair enough.
But no, I ask. I'm just like, I don't know, but I ask shit. But if neither of us like really know exactly what to do, you're kind of
She
figuring it
knows
out.
everything. She has read every single book.
Yeah.
She has watched every single video. They know every single thing that's going on with this
I think
kid.
it kind of helps to freestyle though. If you go in too prepared, then you only know like 4 different ways. Like
Yeah.
he was crying the other night, and I was like, "What if you do this with him?" And I just like kind of put him kind of down, shook him a little.
Yep.
And he just stopped crying.
Yo, can I say this about real quick? They say that, and this is a very important thing to say. Shaken baby syndrome is a thing where like the babies could die when they get shaken
My
too
kid
much.
loves it.
But here's the thing: we never talk. No, that's the point I'm trying to make. We don't talk about how much fun it is when you shake. They love being
They
shaken.
love it.
So I almost have a little empathy for the people who shake them to death because before death it was like a roller coaster. It
Yeah,
was like the
exactly.
most fun they've ever had.
It's like ODing.
Yes, like
Yeah.
you're just like dancing with them and they're just giggling and you're like, well, I do this even harder.
Exactly.
And then catastrophe.
Yeah, you got to stir him. I do more stirring, just
feel you.
kind of moving him around.
Yeah.
But no, it's been awesome. You asked me what my thoughts about fatherhood are, and I sent you a text of maybe 10 or 12 different thoughts.
Let's just pretend he didn't read it.
And then-
Just say
No,
that.
what did I say?
And then he just responds. He goes, "Yeah, man, just feel everything." I was like, all right. I agree.
Well, no, let me read it.
I'll pull it up.
Okay.
These are some of the initial thoughts I had. First off, I had this crazy stuff. We had the baby in the apartment.
That's a long motherfucking
I know,
text,
it's
dog.
just
That's crazy.
Yeah, no wonder.
Bro, ain't nobody reading that shit. I'd have said the same thing back.
It looks like
Just
that-
feel
Tell you what I
everything.
really said back. He sends me this long ass text. I go, yo, do me a favor. Check out this edit that I sent.
Nah, that text looked like you arguing with your girl right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
I was feeling a
That's
lot
one
of
of those.
things, bro.
She writes that whole shit.
Oh,
like,
wait, you were what?
Yeah.
You were what?
I was feeling it.
That's why I said feel what you gotta feel, man.
I was feeling it.
I didn't want to. In that moment,
Let's just do a word count comparison.
no.
Like, let's just see how many words you wrote, Andrew, versus how many words
I'm
Andrew
trying to
wrote back.
find it, bro. That shit is deep.
It's so far.
Oh, here we go. I got it. Oh, wow. Okay, this
So
is a
it
lie.
don't fit the iPhone screen.
Yeah, it's a lie. It's
It
too
don't fit
much.
a
It's
Pro
This
too
is
much.
Max
actually a lie.
It's too
He
much.
wrote this long ass gay thing, and I said, these are all great. Write down all the thoughts. I go, they will change. You'll forget some will grow stronger. Good to reflect on all the moments.
I didn't read that shit.
That is
don't know. I don't know
100% saying I didn't read that. 100%.
But a nicer way to say it, though.
Yeah.
It is a nice
Hey,
way to
these
say it.
are all
Very
great.
thoughtful.
Yeah,
Anytime anybody says these are all great, he didn't read none of them.
Yep.
No.
Probably none of them are great.
Okay.
No, some of them are great.
Actually, I
like I
really wish
skimmed
that
it
I
a little
didn't
bit.
read any of them, so that I could, because that is the funniest thing. But what I remember experiencing in the hospital, while like your wife's asleep, with the baby's asleep, and you're just by yourself, and you feel like everything is on a million, right? Like every sensation is times 100. You like, and you have all these ideas and everything's going through your head. And I started to write some down, and I wish I just wrote every single thing I thought down, because you forget them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you talk to any parent, and the feeling they had when your kid was like 3 months, and when they're not, they're completely different. So in that moment, I didn't want to influence anything. I didn't want to be like, yeah, but what is it like when it's like that? I just wanted you to have, you know, unadulterated, is that the word? Unadulterated feelings, and just, remember them all and enjoy that moment. That's why I didn't want to impact it.
No, I knew that. I'm just messing with you. But it was a beautiful thing. Your emotions definitely do come online in a way that's like insane. Like it's like the closest thing is doing drugs.
Yeah.
Like doing mushrooms, and then afterwards you're like, oh wow, I see the world in a different way. But it's like a clean high that doesn't really go away.
Yeah.
Like it's like just natural.
What has been the hardest thing?
I just adjusting the schedule, like adjusting to like time and like you when you get married now you have like a different time commitment. And you can't just do whatever you want. You kind of have to be like, hey, babe, I'm going to be out. And she's like, yeah, go ahead. But you got to like check in. And then when you have a kid, it's like that times 5, where it's like, hey, I'm going to go out. She's like, you can't, because we got to do this. And you're like, all right.
This is the first time Mark can't do whatever the fuck he wants to do. It's
Yeah.
really shocking. It's a shock to the system for him.
Motherfucker was getting drunk the other night.
I know, he's still doing it.
I got overserved. That's not my fault. Okay.
God.
Just went out with his family. His brother's coming up to town to help out with the baby. They just go and get fucking shit faced.
Well, we had more help.
Bars.
Sister-in-law was there. She was helping out.
Oh, she was.
Exactly.
You guys are doing a great sober October, I see.
Whoop is having another girlfriend. That's
Thank
really what
you.
it is, bro. It's
Yeah.
just, oh, you went to bed so late and you've been drinking so much and you never fucked me. And it's like, why is that on the app? It's fucking weird.
No, they fuck all the time.
But it's wild, bro.
There's so much sex. You have so much sex once you get married, dude. And have a kid, it goes up like 1,000,000 times. Like whatever. Listen, a lot of people talk about like when you have a kid or whatever, you don't have sex. That's a lie. You fuck so much. I'm exhausted from all the fucking I've been doing. I haven't jerked off once in every hotel that I go to on the road. I haven't jerked off a single time in every single hotel. I feel bad for the people cleaning that shit up. I be grabbing pillows to wipe. I feel like, who is it, Alex? You grab whatever's there.
No, I just go on the other
Alex-
side of the bed that I don't step off.
I picked up the mattress. I just nutted in that shit. I didn't give a fuck. I'm getting friction.
Oh, man.
We interviewed a president last week. No, but shout out to the Marriott Bonvi or whatever. And the cleaning staff.
That's
Y'all
your
are the best.
Lewinsky, bro. That's your Lewinsky.
Fucking Marriott Bonvoy.
Bon boy.
The cigar on the mattress and just twisted it.
Yeah.
God bless.
But yeah, dude, breast milk is fire.
Oh, did you enjoy?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight out the tip?
How much you drinking?
Just a little sip. Not out of the tip, out of the little cup.
Yeah.
Out of the
I feel
out of
like
the
at
tip
some
feels a little
point-
weird.
Nah.
Because that's his. Like, I don't want to double dip. You know what I mean?
Don't it seem like Marty's the kind of guy who would just drink breast milk instead of regular milk? Like
The health benefits, you would have no idea. First off, not pasteurized, which you don't need to do that with milk if you drink within 2 weeks. That is actually true.
I loved it. Let's
they
go.
basically purify milk.
Baby.
It's like shelf stabilized. It has no nutrients in it. That's why it gives everyone fucking eczema. All right, just look into it.
Yeah, I've actually heard this.
I'm selling unpasteurized milk after all my shows. If you want to see me, I'm in Pottstown.
Gang on merch.
See me in Pottstown. We have unpasteurized milk. Come and join us.
Sitting out.
We got beef juice.
When can we see the baby, yo?
Soon.
Is it like cool for us to come? You know.
If you came to McSorley's last night, we were there.
Wait a minute, did she bring the baby out?
No, she didn't go out. We did go to a restaurant, and the baby just chilled with us and slept the whole time.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Said I went to Apple Store. I just saw the dude. He was like, "Oh shit, Mark was just in here with his baby." I'm like,
I wanted to show him the Vision
"Dude,
Pro
it's like
too.
2 weeks old. How the fuck is he out there?"
Oh my god.
That shit makes me uncomfortable because I'm chilling with the baby. I'm doing all the shit with him, walking around, and people are like, "Yeah, that is too new to be out." Like he just got here. Why is that kid even out the house?
Son.
And I look at him like, oh, my wife told me
I
to
didn't
go
bring
for a
my
walk.
dog out for a month. This motherfucker's out in 2 weeks.
We were drinking. The kid, look,
This guy's crazy.
I remember
Bro.
my daughter first seeing sunlight 6 months in. Yeah. She said, "What the fuck is this?"
no, I got parenting advice from a close source.
Yes.
Okay,
Mom?
said Casey Anthony, and she said, let your kids going into your life. Okay, so just fucking unfortunate for the kid. We like to get shit faced McSorley's on Saturday, and so the kid's part of it. Like we just go to the restaurant, we put the kid strapped to my chest.
I love bringing the baby everywhere.
Yeah.
I am very Arabic in that way.
Yeah.
I feel like Arabs do that the best.
I wouldn't make that an Arabic trait.
Yeah, that's what the Arabs are known for.
Strapping shit to their chest. I know it's sensitive.
Dove really enjoyed that.
I know,
Did you
right?
see
I know.
Dove? Oh, not only did he laugh, he like slapped the table. He wanted all of us to know he found it funny. Okay? No, but I feel like Arabs, and Dove is kind of an Arab. I feel like Arabs, they take the babies out, you know, especially when it's like Ramadan. You see the whole family out. It's like midnight and the kids are running around. It's awesome. I
And
love
it's
it.
also so hot in the fucking day that you go out at night.
That is also probably something to do with it. But I think culturally they just take the whole family ever. You say the Indians do that too. You say,
Yeah, but I didn't know this young. We're not going to bars and getting drunk. We go to each other's houses and get drunk.
Yeah.
Fair
You know
enough.
what I mean?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like taking the baby everywhere. I wish
I
that the
do think
baby was
there's-
in that room right now.
what I'm
It'd be
saying.
so
I do
cool.
think there is something to not overprotecting and not all. But it's just very funny to bring the kid to the fucking Apple store where it's constantly jam packed.
Have you seen the Vision Pro 2 though? That's my question. I feel like you're not even considering.
I don't think he saw the Vision Pro 2, to be honest.
He was
with you.
asleep, but
I
if
think
he had
it's
been
his
awake-
first- I don't even think he has vision. I don't think he has all his senses.
He's
yet.
mostly seeing black and white. He's got dog vision
He's
for the first
15
3
days
weeks.
old, dude.
He's 14. Okay, don't
Okay,
age him.
it's-
Jesus, he's been doing beef towel. He looks 7. Okay, he looks unbelievably young.
Yo,
You'd be shocked how good he
honestly,
looks.
Mud, he looked 5.
Yeah, for real. He doesn't look a day over a week. It's awesome. But yeah, dude, we did the home birth, which that shit should be illegal. That shit was crazy.
At what point during the home birth are you like, why the fuck ain't we at a hospital?
I was getting gaslit. I mean, no, it worked out amazing. My wife is a midwife that does home births, and it was fine. But like, there's part of it where you're like, this
Do you
is
think when
crazy.
you just said that, the audience was like, oh, phew.
Oh, his wife is a job from the 1600s. Okay, fine. Yeah, you're good.
Very safe.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
But like,
Was there any point where you're like, we need to go to a medical facility?
no, not that I was actually concerned, but like, when I look at the midwife, I'm like, is this fine? She's like, yeah, we're good. And I was like, all right. Like, we're like 20 hours into this. We're just in the
No
house.
epidural's also fucking
Crazy.
No, that's
not even an
insane.
option.
That's insane.
Well, did I tell you this? That I stubbed my toe during the labor?
Yeah.
And I had to tell her, I'm like, I stubbed it, pinky. And she was like, oh, that kind of sucks. Yeah. It was
She's
fucking
got a
awful.
head and a shoulder coming out of her vagina. Just waddling over to get you a Band-Aid.
Yeah, but no, it worked out great. Everything's fine. No issues. We labored outside.
What does that mean?
So like 20 hours in, baby's coming, the 8 centimeters, okay? And the midwife is like, you know what? You guys should go for a walk. And I'm like, all right, let's
Oh, yeah, get things moving.
get things. Yeah, I guess. Or maybe they wanted to take a nap. I don't know what the reason was, but we went outside and we just
I'm
went.
tired of smelling your fucking beef tallow.
So what happened? Where do you walk?
To a local taco stand.
And you ate?
No, we didn't eat. We didn't eat. But at 6 a.m, we just like walked up.
That's the crazy part.
I'm just saying, she's about to be pushing. You don't want diarrhea flying out as well. The last thing I'm eating is tacos.
It gets things moving. It gets things moving.
I mean, the Latinos know how to deliver.
That's what I'm saying. Right? You got to trust
true.
them. But no, we just like walked around. She would have a contraction every couple blocks.
Wow.
In front of the church, just screaming. God, why did you do this? And then people on the street walking past us, like 3 golfers, see us and they're like, have a good day. I was like, all right, see you guys. I thought we were going to get robbed. I was like, the idea of getting robbed on the street with the baby on its way out would have been fucking crazy.
Yeah, what do you do in that moment? Because you want to prove to your wife that you can protect her.
Yeah, I'm a tough
But
guy.
at the same time, she's like having contractions. You kind of just got to cough it up.
Yeah, be like, you want a baby? Yeah.
Okay. Are you very like a sweet with the child, very like kind and cuddly with
Yeah.
it? Or is it, okay.
Yeah.
There's no part of you yet where you're like, okay, I got to make him a man.
No.
Okay.
No, he'll figure that shit out. Yeah.
I don't know. I have a daughter, so like I've only been gay. Like all I do is I just like jump around. Like I feel no pressure at all to like make the kid tough.
Yeah.
Like if anything, I want to show her like the sweetest side of a guy because she's going to deal with the asshole shit her whole life. But I imagine with a son,
And she should know what not to put up with. Like,
Exactly.
if this isn't what I'm used to, I'm out.
yeah, like she knows that this is something that exists out there. But I imagine with a son, and I don't know, but I imagine there's a point where you want to be like, all right, stop crying. You just fell. It's going to be okay. Or there's like a little bit of a toughen up thing.
yeah.
My dad wasn't like that with me at all, but I also sit like this regularly.
No, I just nurture him. I just love him. It's great. He
That
sleeps
is the
great.
thing that scares me about having a son, because just like my little cousins who were guys, I was so fucking like, shut up. Like I had no softness for them whatsoever. But my little cousins who are girls or whatever, it's like completely soft, completely like this. I have no issue, like you said.
Yeah.
This is easy. With a guy, I have no patience.
Yeah, when can you start like roughhousing with a kid?
Immediately.
Yeah, I kind of doing that now. We go flying. I just put
Andrew
him on my
actually told
arm.
me you should just shake the fuck out of him, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You stir them, okay? You can't shake them.
Yep.
Just a little gentle rock.
Give him that 007.
Yeah. But yeah, it's awesome. I was thinking, how crazy is this? When you're born, how about this? When you die, what is the stereotype of how you die? What do people say you see?
A light.
You go into the light. And when you're born,
You go into the light.
bro. Cut this.
Didn't you grow up in the South? I was like, all right, where is it?
But that is crazy, though. Maybe death is ultimately the great rebirth. Think
was
about it.
Yeah, no shit.
3 days ago.
Okay, but I'm finally getting on board. Then maybe the light is just the pussy of the universe. You know what I mean? You're just flying through it. Think about it.
This is why I said feel all the feels.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you just gotta let them get it out. Process them all. You say it to your friends, they start shitting on your theories about life, and then you feel insecure when you just had the greatest moment.
Yeah.
So I didn't want you to have that.
Nah,
Yeah, I
he wants
appreciate
you to write it down so you can remember the stupid shit you said.
The thing that did blow my mind was the reflexes. Like, when you're born, did they do all the reflex testing with your daughter?
No.
I'm pretty sure they did because I think they have to do it at the hospital.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Legally, they have to.
Nope. They gave her to me. She tried to latch onto my nipple, and I was like, "We not making you a lesbian immediately."
Wait, what?
She did. She went right for my titty.
How would that make
Because I was eating bread. I was eating so much bread.
How's that
I don't know. It's like the negative numbers or whatever.
Yeah. I can do that. Yeah. That's a good point. No, they do these reflex testings where they're like, all right, the kid has a reflex to walk. They put him down and his legs will go like this and they'll start to walk. And they have a hanging reflex where they know how to hang on to shit. They can hang.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
then,
that
like-
grip, they can do like pull-ups.
Yeah.
Like somehow we get weaker.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they have like a startle reflex. You put them down, they startle. They have a foot reflex where like you rub their foot and like their toes grab it, or no, their toes go out, and then it switches at like a couple months. And it's like all that shit is just programmed in there, just baked in, downloaded on the hard drive.
Yeah.
Right when you buy it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't
What?
think I. My wife was just bleeding out, so I was trying to make sure she didn't die, and then I would have to
point.
take care of my baby all by myself.
that's a
I
good
was like,
point.
"Yo, you got that with the toes? All right, good. I'm gonna go cauterize this woman real fast."
That is a good point. The neighbors were freaked out though.
Wait, why? Because they heard the screaming.
Yeah, they left us a gift, which is very nice.
What was it?
It's a baguette.
Nice.
Yeah, they're French.
Yeah.
And so they gave us a little baguette.
Yeah.
And-
When is like the official? We get to see the baby party.
But I don't know, this weekend. Fuck it.
But it
I don't. Do you do like an event?
different. Moms are different with things. So like Emma was very, it was hard for us to get pregnant. She was very concerned. And so I think she was really protective, and I didn't want to. Immediately, I'm like, let's show the world the coolest thing that we've ever made. And she was very much like, okay, I'm worried about the baby getting sick or something like that. So I'm like hesitant to put any pressure on you or to, share the baby with us.
No.
But now I know that you're taking him on the subway 3 days out.
Doing petty crime.
Yeah.
Then it's fine. No, I'll bring the baby in. That'd be awesome. As long as everyone washes their hands and don't touch them and shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have to worry about you guys getting him sick because Akash already got me sick. And then I was around
Al
the kid.
got me sick.
So, yeah, we're already fucked. Okay? Long story short.
Did the baby get sick?
No, baby's fine. Baby's breastfeeding. Mom has antibodies. It all gets passed through. God has a great plan for this, okay? And ultimately, I think more people need to go to confession and start going to church and just be on fire for Christ.
Yeah. Okay, Miles.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't have a baby.
Miles has been pissed about the baby. Miles and my cat, they're both just like, so what the fuck am I supposed to do?
What am I?
Oh yeah, how useless are the pets now? It's kind of sad, right? You don't even they're just like a surrogate for your love, and the second you have something to actually love, you're like, get away.
Yeah.
My God.
No, but a cat is more petty.
It sounds so bad. Because every day I come home and my dog is so excited to see me, and I'm just like, get the fuck out of my way so I can see my daughter. I feel so bad. I really, there's a little part of you feels guilt about it. But they are the best. They're just, every day the dog keeps showing up. Knowing that they don't get as much love as they used to,
Not
and
my
they don't
cat.
change
The cat's
Not
even
my cat.
a little
My
bit.
cat's been throwing up nonstop, out of attention, just puking all over the fucking house. Yeah,
Dogs are the best, dude.
They are the best. I think, they are the best.
My kid and the cat are going to come around, I think.
Oh, are they beefing a little bit?
Just the cat kind of stares at him, and just
I
the
would
second he
never have
cries,
a
the
cat.
cat runs away.
Oh,
Freaked out. But I think eventually, as the kid gets older, the cat will eventually die, and then they'll be harmless.
they don't die. They don't die.
And that's not
live,
true.
dude.
They
Cats
don't
live.
die.
Really?
Cats fucking
They
live.
escape, and then
They
that's just
escape.
what it is.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, it's been great.
All right. Well, first of all, Mark, congratulations. Obviously, very excited for
And I
you.
want to say thank you guys for being just so supportive and kind and very sweet. Just not only with logistical work shit, but then
Guys,
just
thank you
also-
so much for
No,
watching
come on, I was
Flagrant.
being really sweet
appreciate
there.
you.
Okay.
No.
But just logistically work shit, and then also just the outpouring of love has been very sweet. I
Absolutely.
genuinely am very grateful.
We're very excited for you. We're very proud of you, and it's going to be a very cool future that we're all living in with President Donald J. Trump.
Okay. Wait, what?
I mean, with Madam Vice President Kamala, with whoever wins, the best person will win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Surely.
Yeah. Yeah.
An educated populace will definitely make the best decision.
You can always
Yeah.
trust the people to make
You
the
can
right decision.
always. I mean, isn't that democracy?
Yeah.
I mean, what did Socrates say? Oh, he said they're too stupid to vote. Yeah. So maybe not what he said, but we believe in the America. We believe in George Washington, whose mom was Albanian.
Yeah, Catholic.
Catholic. First president of the United States of America was a Catholic. Take
out.
that.
Yeah.
Can you say that word?
Yeah, I think so.
Soon.
It checks out, right?
Flagrant, thank you guys so much for rocking with us. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Peace.
As promised, here is part 2 of our episode with Alex O'Connor. It's a big one. We're going to talk about Jesus and whether he even claimed to be the Messiah, and maybe it was John the Baptist. We're also going to talk about Mormons. You guys think they're weird? They might be right. Alex O'Connor is going to tell us why. And last, and probably least, but the most fun, he's going to talk shit about our boy Wes Huff. There's some Bible beef going on. Let's see what's happening.
Religion is my real thing, yeah.
That's why I'm specifically asking. So I'm aware that you must have had tons of conversations with people and they've broken down what they feel their personal benefit from it is.
Yeah.
Have you, in your studies, have you read any stories that warmed your heart, to be cliche, and made you go, oh, I understand the societal utility for this.
Yeah.
And yes, there are things that hurt people and ostracize people, and that is bad. But is there a version where you're there is a net good for the individual?
I had a debate the other day with a Christian who tried to kill his dad with a hammer. He just attacked his dad. He caved in his dad's skull with a hammer.
What?
Wow.
And now he's a Christian and he's totally fine. So
what
he's
was
like
his dad doing?
I can't remember, but I think so. This guy, he's like a sociopath or a psychopath, one or the other. He's like an actual sociopath or psychopath. So I don't know if there was anything particular or if he just did it for good time's sake or whatever. But for some reason, he did that, and then he became a Christian, and he still is he still has that same brain. But Christianity, as far as I know, this is his understanding, is that Christianity has given him this framework to abide by, so that even though he's a sociopath, he doesn't engage in that kind of stuff anymore.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, those kinds of people exist. There are also people who like. I remember distinctly when I was younger, when I first started thinking about religion. The first time I tried to write a book, I wanted to open it with this little story just because it happened fairly recently at the time. I was like a teenager. I just moved into a new sort of area, and we went to our local Catholic church, and it was like Easter Sunday or something, and there weren't very many people there. And I just remember sitting down, and there was this old woman on her own, just sat on this pew, and she just like came up to me and went like, grabbed me, was like, I hope that you and your family have a very, very happy Easter. And I thought, man, that's so... I don't want her to become an atheist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's on her own. She's here in church. She's probably here every single week. She's got and I don't think she'd become unkind or something, but I just think it would be soul crushing. And so of course.
So how do you grapple with that?
By being violently agnostic.
Agnostic meaning
You don't know.
So atheist is like, religion is dumb, there is no God,
Well,
nothing.
there is no God. You don't need to think that religion... You can be an atheist who doesn't believe it's true, but still think that it's beneficial.
There's societal utility to religion. Got it. So the agnosticism allows you to what?
Allows me to not feel a duty in being honest to tell that old lady that I think she's wrong. Because she might not be wrong. She might be totally right, you know? As I like to say, I will die on this fence. I will happily just say that, like, look, if you think that God exists because of this reason or that reason, I'll say, I think that's bullshit and I don't think that works. But I can't say that the conclusion itself is true or false, right? Like, if you think that the Gospels are 100% historically reliable, I'll say, I think you're wrong. I think that's just not true.
Right.
If you say you think Christianity is true, I'll be like, okay, man, then maybe it is, you know? But tell me why you think that, and we'll get into the weeds.
And does it matter why?
It does, because... I mean, well, it doesn't on the level of like society or whatever. Like if you're a Christian because your parents were Christian and...
Or what about us being emotivists?
Well, emotivism is about ethics. So it's about what you think is right or wrong.
Oh, okay.
Whereas we're talking here about like what's just true and false.
Oh,
Which some people, I've tried to apply emotivism to that in the past, but it gets a bit complicated. But they're sort of, there's ethical emotivism, which is just a linguistic claim about what good and bad mean, which is like expression of emotion. And this is just about what you think is true and false, you know? And most of my interest at the moment lies in New Testament studies and digging into the New Testament. And a lot of people just don't know what's in there. They've just got no clue.
Can you talk to us like, we've never heard a single thing about Christianity.
Sure.
So the Gospels.
So there are 4 Gospels. Gospels, eugalion in Greek, just means good news.
Okay.
So the beginning of the Gospel of Mark says the beginning of the Gospel of Jesus Christ. The beginning of the good news about Jesus Christ.
So these are the stories of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And it's good news. It's just people saying like, good news. I've got some good news to share with you.
Yeah.
And there are 4 Gospels in the Bible. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The Mark is probably the earliest, written around 70 AD. So about 40 years after Jesus died.
Yep.
And you've got Matthew and Luke, which are written 10, 15 years after that. And John's Gospel, which is written 10, 15 years after that still. All of that is disputed. You know, dating is a very, very difficult thing to do.
Sure.
And they all tell stories about the things that Jesus said and did. 3 of those Gospels rely heavily on each other. They're all interconnected. They're called the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. John's Gospel is like on its own. It seems to have its own sources, its own independent
Godfather 3.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
Timeline's a little fuzzy.
So what you've actually got is the Bible, but Bible just means like library. That's where we get like biblio anything, you know, bibliothèque or whatever. It's just it means like book or library or something like that. And so it's a library of books. It's lots of books. So when somebody says, oh, that's just because the Bible says that, the Bible is a collection of texts.
So you have to refer to which text is saying that.
Yeah, but also it means that if you've got 4 different texts which all say the same thing, you haven't just got, oh, it's just the Bible that says that. It's like, no, you've got 4 independent accounts which all say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more like evidence of history in the Gospels than people give them credit for. So there are some stories that only appear in one of the Gospels and none of the others. They might have happened, we don't know. But if you've got stories that are independently attested in every single one of them, especially if you've got other reasons to think that they wouldn't be made up, it's a good reason to think that they're historically true.
Now you said real quick, the synoptic. So synoptic Gospels rely on each other?
Yep.
So does that mean that like one thing could have been written in one and then kind of paraphrase
so
another?
Mark's Gospel is the shortest, and most people think it came first. Around 95% or so of Mark's gospel is also in Matthew and Luke, like word for word. And then Matthew and Luke add extra stuff.
But do you work off of Mark's, for example?
I prefer to work off Mark's when I'm looking at the historical Jesus because it's the earliest report. The earliest thing in the New Testament is actually Paul's letters. You've heard about like 1 Corinthians and Ephesians and these kinds of things. These are letters that Paul writes to various churches, and these are actually the earliest sources.
And what year is that?
Again, it's disputed, but probably around like 50 AD, something like that.
So 50 years after the death of Christ, Paul...
20 years after the death of Christ, yeah.
Right, because it's 33. Okay. Got it. So he's like, listen, these things happened. I'm going to tell you exactly.
But Paul is not writing a biography of Jesus. Paul is writing letters to churches telling them like how to organize themselves, what the theology should be, all of this kind of stuff. It's only later that you get these biographies. So you've also got different genres in the New Testament. The Gospels are biographies that tell the life and times of Jesus. Paul is writing letters to people. You've got Revelation, which is this apocalyptic vision that John of Patmos has and writes all about it. But the Gospels are most interesting to me because you've got these 4 different accounts, and sometimes they subtly differ from each other, and you figure out what you can learn about these different things. So, like, you know who John the Baptist is?
I've heard the name, but what is he?
Yeah, so a lot of people have heard of him but don't know anything about him. John the Baptist baptizes Jesus, and it's at the beginning of all 4 of the Gospels. This is something that they wouldn't make up. Because if you're writing a story about Jesus and you're trying to present this man as the Son of God, maybe God himself, it makes very little sense for him to be baptized by another known preacher. And so the fact that they all included it means that it must be something that actually happened.
Right.
So we have this historical fact about John the Baptist, which is kind of interesting. Now,
because you're saying people at the time would refute it because this is written at a time where John the Baptist could potentially still be alive.
Yeah, he still would have been around, but also like they wouldn't have made it up.
Because
like,
why would too
Jesus
foolish?
If it didn't happen, they wouldn't like make it up. It's called sometimes called like the criterion of embarrassment. If you include something that's kind of embarrassing or doesn't look good for you,
right off the entire.
It's like in Matthew's gospel at the end of when Jesus appears to his disciples. Matthew's gospel says that the 12 disciples saw him and they worshipped, but some of them doubted, which is like not something that the author would make up.
That's even more believable.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really sophisticated storytelling. So, like if I was to lie, I would write that in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right? but you wouldn't want people to think, if you're trying to present Jesus as the Son of God, this is him. You wouldn't make up a story that some of his closest disciples doubted that.
Or entering Jerusalem on a donkey, like having this sort of I guess like low status entrance
But then
for a Messiah.
The Gospels do actually want to paint Jesus as like this humble servant, and the entering in on the donkey is a callback to an Old Testament prophecy about riding in on a donkey.
So that could be made up.
It could you could read that as like it's either made up to try and fit Jesus within like
the Old Testament.
The Old Testament, and it's made up story for that reason. Or you could say that Jesus did actually do it, but that he did it knowing that he's
doing a callback.
But
they're calling him the Son of David.
But there are also other reasons why people might dispute things. So, for example, riding into town, into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey, and there's people lining the streets, Hosanna in the highest. A lot of people think that if this event actually occurred, Jesus would have just been arrested, like in an instant. A lot of people are just like, there's no way this could have happened historically, just because Jesus would have been arrested. Like the Romans would have been like, what on earth is going on here? This man is like being worshipped. He needs to be arrested. So there are all kinds of ways that you can try and figure out whether these stories actually happened or whether they didn't. And I find them all extremely interesting. And they can also tell us about the communities at the time. So John's gospel...
Sorry to interrupt real quick. About coming back in on a donkey, isn't that like the least attention-seeking version of coming back in? Like if you roll back in on like a white horse, then maybe people go, yo, Jesus is back. But if you come back in humbly on the donkey, maybe nobody even noticed.
This is all the celebrations, I think, is what you're saying.
Yes.
They were celebrating him as he was coming back in.
As he's coming in, like people are lining the streets.
And the fact that it means something to the high priest of Jerusalem.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
You know,
and he's doing it on a feast day, I'm sure.
So he's making a celebration. This is like the Yankees win the World Series. This is the parade.
Yes.
In Boston.
This is around the time of the Passover.
And your observation on that is that would not be smart given how much hysteria would cause, and it would put him in a particularly...
but Jesus was no stranger to doing things which aren't smart. Like he was happy to put himself in danger, but it's more like it probably didn't happen because that's probably when he would have been arrested.
Got it. And he doesn't get arrested immediately.
He doesn't get arrested there, no.
Therefore, that might not have happened.
Yeah, that's one reason to think that it might not have happened.
But you were saying something, I think, about Mark, and then we got...
So John the Baptist is mentioned at the beginning of all of the Gospels, and John's Gospel in particular, it opens by really emphasizing that John the Baptist is not the Messiah. It opens saying like, there was a man called John, and he was not himself the light. He was making way for the light. And then people come up to John the Baptist and they say, "Are you the Messiah?" And he says, "No, I'm not the Messiah." And he's saying, and there's this real emphasis. Like the author of John's Gospel is telling us John the Baptist is not the Messiah. What does that mean? He gives us a clue that there were people at the time of the writing of John's Gospel who thought that John the Baptist was the Messiah. And John the Baptist is a really important figure in Christianity. Jesus in the Gospels calls him the greatest man ever born of a woman. Is John the Baptist.
He had to leave a little. He had to leave a little room for him. That's fire.
But a lot of Christians say like, oh well, obviously Jesus was excluding himself there, and you would say that as a Christian. But for me, I'm reading that, I'm like, are you sure about that? Because I think Jesus was a disciple of John the Baptist. I think that's who Jesus historically was. John the Baptist is preaching. All the Gospels say. If you read like Mark's Gospel, which is the earliest, let's look at the earliest source. It will say right there in the very earliest source that John the Baptist is in the wilderness, preaching a baptism of repentance for the forgiveness of sins. What does that mean? No one really knows. But we know that he's doing some kind of water ritual for people of repentance for the forgiveness of sins. That's obviously something that Jesus picks up with the whole forgiveness of sins things, right? But Christians will say, well, yeah, I mean, he didn't have the authority to forgive people's sins. He was just like announcing the forgiveness of sins. Like priests would often do this. They would say to people, your sins are forgiven. They're not forgiven.
Was John the Baptist a rabbi at the time?
He was like a preacher in the wilderness. He was probably he was like the son of a priest.
Was he religious?
Yeah, so he would have been Jewish.
So he's okay. Got it.
But there's some like we don't actually know very much about him is the thing. But we know from Luke's gospel, although
when I hear priest, I think Christianity. Rabbi.
But this is pre-Christianity.
That's what I'm saying. So he would be a rabbi or some form of
kind of
religious scholar,
wanderer.
Like a spirit. No, as in the father would have been like a spirit.
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist would have just a spiritual wanderer.
Like a guru.
A guru. So and
a rebel to the synagogue.
Yes. So this is what often people think.
Guys, tour dates. This weekend, I'm going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio, Liberty Township specifically. I'm going to be there Thursday through Friday at the Funny Bone. Then September 11th through the 13th, I'm going to be in Dania Beach, Florida. That is far from any who wants to blow up Florida. What kind of person would do such a thing? So it's a safe show to come to. Be there. September 25th and 27th, I'm rounding out my Ohio tour in Cleveland. October 5th, Dubai. Hurry up and buy those tickets. They're selling out. We might have to move to a bigger venue or figure something out, but right now we're about to sell out. And then all those dates and more, akashsingh.com. We got big things getting announced soon, guys. Big things. Also, Mark has tour dates. You can suck his dick in Montreal, Toronto, or Detroit. Those dates respectively are August 22nd, August 23rd, and December 6th. Why is there such a big gap? I don't know. Tour bookers, get your shit together. Comedy clubs, get your shit together. This guy got 3 open months. What is that? September, October, November. Book the man. MarkGagnonLive.com.
So John the Baptist is described as wearing camel skin and eating locusts and honey, and he lives in the wilderness. Like he's this ascetic outcast. And there are all kinds of reasons why that could be the case. There's a book by a scholar called John McGrath who talks about John the Baptist, and he thinks it might have something to do with some conflict with his priestly father and ending up like running out into the wilderness. But John is preaching this philosophy, and it says that all of Judea were coming to him. He's this extremely popular Jewish preacher, and people are coming to him, and he's baptizing them for the repentance of sins. And then Jesus comes along, and John is saying, "There's one coming who's greater than I, and I'm not worthy to untie his sandal strap." And then Jesus shows up, and he's like, "Oh, here he is. This is the guy." And then he baptizes Jesus, and the heavens open up, and God says, "This is my son with whom I'm well pleased." And that's the start of Jesus' ministry. So that's the Christian version that you get in the Gospels. That's going to be history mixed with myth. In my view, Jesus was a follower of John the Baptist, because all the Gospels report that he was baptized by him, which they wouldn't make up. And you've constantly got these ideas of Jesus saying, like, Jesus talks about how the greatest students will one day come to surpass their teachers, and
Jesus is talking about
Jesus is saying this to his disciples, and he also at one point says that to his disciples that they will do greater things than I. So you will do even greater things than I. Sort of implying that there's some kind of baton to be passed on. Now Christians will dispute this. They won't like this at all because Jesus is the guy. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking historically, it seems like anything that Jesus does, which he seems to get from the Father, he is willing to give to his disciples. So in John chapter 20, verses like 21 onwards, Jesus says to his disciples after he's risen from the dead, "As the Father has sent me, I'm sending you." And he breathes on them, says, "Receive the Holy Spirit." If you go and forgive anyone's sins, they're forgiven. If you do not forgive them, then their sins are retained. So Jesus seems to give the disciples the ability to forgive sins, and he does it by breathing the Spirit on them. At the baptism, John the Baptist, who's preaching a baptism of repentance for the forgiveness of sins, baptizes Jesus, and what happens? The Spirit comes into Jesus at the baptism. And so it seems like there is this analog between what's happening to Jesus and what Jesus is then giving to his disciples.
Like vampires.
Now, yeah, why not?
Right.
And if you speak to a Christian, they're going to come and they're going to be like, Alex doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, this is all not. But like, I understand that that's not the Christian interpretation. But this is how I'm reading these.
You're analyzing it from historical record.
Yeah, but also like even like if you're looking at the historical Jesus, this is a particular viewpoint. It's not like a given. This is just my understanding.
Sure.
But it is worth pointing out that this is something that people need to sort of realize there are lots of different views on.
Even within the Gospels.
Yeah, because the Gospels are saying all kinds of different stuff, and they give us all kinds of different clues into interesting facts about Jesus.
Can I ask one question about John the Baptist real quick? You said he was popular at the time.
Yeah, extremely.
Is there like writings about him specifically? Is there a historical account? Like how popular? Hundreds of people, thousands of people?
Well, the Gospels say all of Judea was coming to him, which is obviously an exaggeration, but it means like lots and lots of people. Also, when Herod Antipas, king of Judea, like first hears about Jesus, this is again in the Gospels, he hears about this guy Jesus who's going around causing a ruckus, and he says, this is John the Baptist resurrected. Because John the Baptist gets beheaded in the Gospels, by the way. And so who must John the Baptist have been that when he hears about Jesus, he goes, it's another John the Baptist. John the Baptist must have been doing something like crazy stuff,
He
right?
must have been a nuisance.
Are there any texts about John the Baptist? Kind of. There is a Gnostic group called the Mandaeans who still exist today in small numbers, and they believe that John the Baptist is their last and most important prophet. They think Jesus is a false prophet, and John the Baptist is like their central figure. They historically claim to be part of the original following of John the Baptist. Anthropologically, that's probably not the case. Most of them were living in Iraq until the Iraq War, and now their numbers have like completely dwindled. These guys have their own literature. You can read it online. It's the Mandaean Book of John. And they retell the story of the baptism. So Jesus comes to John the Baptist, and they have a bit of an argument, and John the Baptist doesn't want to baptize Jesus, not because he's unworthy, but because he knows that Jesus is going to be trouble. He's like, no, and they have an argument about it, and he has a go at him. He starts saying that you've loosened the Sabbath, and you've brought disgrace to these people, and you've upset the Jews or like disgraced the Jews or something like this, and they have essentially a bit of a debate. He doesn't want to baptize him. Now, is this a historical source? Like, probably not, but it tells us something that people believe, which is this view of who John the Baptist was, and that Jesus was a false preacher, sort of one of his followers gone awry. I find that really interesting, right? Because the most interesting thing for me
John's a rebel, and then the next dude is even more of a rebel.
We know that Jesus is definitely a rebel, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, why wouldn't John the Baptist have apostles or people that would be martyred in that way?
Because so firstly, he did have like followers. He does have disciples. I think Jesus was one of them. But also, even in the Gospels, two of Jesus's disciples are sort of poached from John the Baptist. It's John. It's
so. Two of Jesus' disciples were originally following
John the Baptist. Yeah, and in fact, it's at the baptism that John says, "Look, this is the man. Like, go and follow." And then they go and follow Jesus.
Isn't this? I don't want to say this every religion, but like, isn't the same thing happen kind of with Mormonism, where you got who's the main guy?
Joseph Smith.
Joseph goes, "Hey, we got to do this," and then he even dies before they get to Salt Lake City. But the next guy,
that's right,
takes it.
By the way,
Scientology is in there.
Do you know who the first ever U.S. presidential candidate to be assassinated while running for office was?
While running for office?
While running for office. It was Joseph Smith, founder of the Mormon religion. Wow. He was running for president at the time.
While he was traveling out to Salt Lake City.
That's right. So they were sort of constant.
Mormons might be onto something. Man. We gotta look into it.
Mormonism is
I don't want to get us distracted.
No, it's absolutely fascinating, man, because like it's such a wacky story. Like the history of, and because it's relatively recent, it's like 1800s, like there's more records, like we know certain things happened. So we know that Joseph Smith claims to receive these golden plates. He's told by the angel Moroni, go and dig up these golden plates. The golden plates exist because in ancient Israel, just before the Babylonian captivity, some Jews, some Israelites were warned, and so they fled and they built boats and they sailed to America.
Jersey.
And they had entire civilizations. The Garden of Eden was in Jackson County, Missouri,
of course.
By the way. They have an entire civilization. They were like, I'm talking like Lord of the Rings, like battles and wars and societies and all this kind of stuff. And then the very last person, the very last Nephite, I think. I might be getting some of this wrong. I think this is actually the son of Mormon, but Mormon's the one who like puts it all together. So sort of writes down the record of his people on these golden plates and buries them.
Got it.
Because he's the last of his kind. And then Joseph Smith is in upstate New York, and God says to him, "Hey man, like
Big.
go and find these plates." So Joseph Smith has these plates, and they're written in something which is called Reformed hieroglyphics. So they look a bit like Egyptian hieroglyphics. And Joseph Smith can miraculously translate them. And the way that he does it is not by looking at the plates, puts the plates aside. He takes his hat, he takes a special kind of stone called a seer stone. He puts the seer stone in the hat. He puts his head into the hat, and the stone starts glowing and translating what's on the golden plates. And he starts dictating. He starts saying it out loud.
Got it.
Someone starts writing it down.
Fire.
And he's the only one who can see it.
He's the only one that can see the translation. There are...
He's the only one who can see it glowing.
Yeah, because he's got his head in, the hat, right?
Yeah.
And you can
And
see
then
that
he
they have
never
the same.
showed anyone the golden plates.
There are something like 11, maybe 13 witnesses to the golden plates.
Oh, there are.
Who actually, if you read the Book of Mormon, it opens with the testimony of the 13 witnesses to the golden plates. Apart from that, nobody saw them. But the funny thing is, it sounds really wacky, but what I love about what Mormons can do is they go to Christians, and Christians are like, "This is the most ridiculous false prophet nonsense, whatever." And they're like, "Oh, really? So how many eyewitness testimony written accounts do you have to the resurrection?" Oh, you've got none. You've just got a few secondhand accounts. Oh, because we've got 13 eyewitness signed, like affidavit, like written down testimonies of people who were still alive and were questioned by like the press about it.
Yeah.
And like one of the guys who who swore that he saw the golden plates later falls out with Joseph Smith, is kicked out of the Mormon
But he's
church,
still
or
like,
leaves,
"I saw them
but
plates."
he still says he saw the plates until the day that he died.
I love it.
Now there's some debate about this, because one of them sort of says, well, he saw them with his spiritual eyes, which kind of means it might have been a vision. But then he's asked about that, and he says, "Look, gentlemen, look at your hands. As truly as you see your hands, I saw those plates," right? So there's all of this going on, right? So Joseph Smith then like founds this religion off the basis of it, and they don't like being called Mormons, because Mormon is the name of one of their I guess he's a prophet, but he's like the guy that collates the Book of Mormon. They are members of the Church
calling
of
them
Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Islamists
Saints.
or something.
Yeah, or like calling them a Mohammedan probably is more similar, which is what they used to call Muslims, because they sort of misunderstood what they were all about. But yeah, like they sort of flip and flop about whether it's okay to call them Mormons, because it's a bit clunky to say member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Latter-day Saint, right? But so Joseph Smith, they're setting up communities, and they're trying to find somewhere to like set up their community. So they're traveling around the United States, and when they get to Missouri, they cause such a problem in Missouri that there is something called, I think it's called the Missouri Executive Order 45 or something, otherwise known as like the Mormon Extermination Order, which is where the governor of Missouri, based on some like inflated reports about what the Mormons were doing, gets so like worried and paranoid about them that he issues an order to exterminate Mormons, to drive them out of the land by force, which basically means that you could just like kill Mormons. You just like go Mormon hunting, because he wanted them gone. They were causing such a problem. Like, I'm like, in the United States, there was a law passed, an executive order, that said we're just going to kill Mormons and drive them out of our land.
Kill white people.
I know.
Which is like,
Yeah, that's not shocking for me.
That's light work, right?
it's just like
The worst thing America did, you could say.
like 1800s. It's crazy,
I
man.
agree.
You wouldn't believe. It's just wild.
Don't take us too far away from Jesus. I want to.
Oh, sure. Okay. But yeah, we can definitely get back to Jesus. But Joseph Smith eventually, so part of when he decides to run for president, part of his running campaign is that he wants to annex Texas, because he wants to make Texas like the land for the Mormon people. So that's part of his thing. And eventually, so Mormons are into like polygamy.
Yeah.
They were. Now, if you're a polygamist, you can't be a Mormon. Like it's anathema to them. In like the 1980s or something, they finally said it's not right. But they got one of the reasons they got in so much trouble with the U.S. government was because they had multiple wives, and that was seen as totally wrong. And so Joseph Smith is now, I can't remember which state he's in when he actually dies. I think it might be Illinois, but I'm not sure about that.
I think he dies in Illinois.
He dies in Illinois? I think that's right.
Missouri's like the third spot they end up, correct?
Yeah, they've sort of been all over the place, and I think Illinois is where he gets killed.
You just Google that.
And yeah, I mean maybe okay, great.
They just kept getting kicked out of places.
Yeah, they keep getting
They're
kicked
like
out.
the Christian Jews.
Yeah, seriously. But this is the thing. So Mormons will say, Mormons will point out that they have a history of like persecution, and people sort of don't know about this. It's quite amazing, because I debate Christians quite a lot, and they talk about how amazing it was that Christianity grew from just a small group of people to taking over the Roman Empire. And I'm like, the sociologist Rodney Stark calculated that in the first 200 or 300 years, I think, after the birth of Christianity, the growth rate that they experienced is exactly the same as the Mormon Church. and then people say, yeah, but they were being persecuted by the Roman Empire. I'm like, have you heard of the Missouri extermination? It's crazy.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break for a second. Okay, if you're a renter, you need to listen up right now. If you have not already joined Built, you need to. Okay, this is why. Most of us rack up points on groceries, travel, nearly everything else. Why are you not earning points on your biggest monthly expense, which might be your rent? I'm about to tell you about the best hack that you can start taking advantage of today, okay? Paying rent with Built unlocks flexible points that can be redeemed towards hundreds of hotels, airlines, future rent payments, your next Lyft ride, student loan balances, and more. But here's where it gets even better. Built isn't just about the points. They're actually helping you build credit. Yes, you can build your credit by reporting your rent payments to credit bureaus. They're going to do that for free. That's huge if you're trying to buy a house or you just want to improve your credit score. And when you're ready to buy a home, you can redeem the Built points that you've been paying your rent religiously, and you can apply those to the down payment of that home. I mentioned that Built points can be converted to your favorite airline miles and hotel points from around the world. And I really mean some of the biggest players in the industry: United, Southwest, Hyatt, Marriott, and more. Your rent can literally help you pay for your next vacation. So if you're paying rent, Built can reward you for it no matter where you live or who your landlord is. So start paying rent through Built today by going to joinbuilt.com/flagrant. That is joinbilt.com/flagrant. Now let's get back to the show. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second because we just got some great news. First of all, today's sponsor is Kraken, your go-to for everything investing across crypto and stocks. I just want to point that out. Okay, over 11,000 US stocks and ETFs and over 350 different cryptocurrencies that you can choose to invest in. They are a company that has weathered the storm. They are still around here. They were not struggling when crypto fell off a cliff. Okay, they held all your money, they protected all your money, and now you're making crazy money. Just stepped in. I think Jamil just told us that Grok said that Bitcoin could be hitting $150,000.
And Grok's never been wrong.
Yeah.
Never.
By the end of the summer.
Yes.
Fuck all of you.
Oh, by the end of the summer.
That's what he said, right?
End of the year.
End of the year.
Damn.
Indian New Year. It's a different calendar. It's a different calendar.
Who cares? It's hitting 150K.
All right, so you
Fuck all
taking
y'all.
your money out of ETFs and you're dumping it into Bitcoin?
No, this guy, 7% fucking cuck over here. 7%.
I'll take 7%. I'll fucking retire, dude.
I take Bitcoin, baby.
Nah, you diversify. You get a bunch of different things.
My only regret is I didn't know about Kraken earlier, and I lost a lot of Bitcoin on other shittier platforms.
Yeah.
But I'm back up, baby. We're back up, even with all that I lost. I lost like 30% of my Bitcoin. I'm back up.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What an investment.
This is crazy.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
This guy shit on me all the time.
I know.
Kept his Bitcoin.
I know. I was. You know what? It's been like I've been right and wrong.
You got
so
to
many
have it
times.
both ways. You got to shit on me,
Yeah.
and you got to make money.
Oh, so I should be happy about that.
Yeah.
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 You got to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. I remember after that first Pomp episode, I remember coming back. We're in Miami. I went back home. I woke my wife up and I said, "Babe, we got to take all of our money and we got to dump it into Bitcoin." I swear to God in my life, I said that. My wife will confirm that if you guys want. I said we got to put it all into Bitcoin.
You should have.
And you know what? We should have.
You'd be so rich.
It would have been rough.
Yeah.
It would have been rough for a little bit, but then I would have multiple times of saying I told you so. She
Yeah.
would also have I told you so.
Yeah.
So this is like everybody's happy. Bitcoin really is the best thing for a relationship.
It is, dude. It is.
Yeah.
It's the great equalizer.
It really is. Yeah. So shout out Satoshi Nagamaki or whatever his
Whoever
fucking name
stole
is.
my Bitcoin, if you'd like to give it back, that'd be awesome.
Was it
That'd
a
be
s-
great.
oh, it was a
I got-
steal. You
Yeah,
got-
I lost both. I lost in every way possible.
You have too much confidence in your knowledge of like technology.
and just my ability to do anything correctly.
Yeah. You have to do what I do. I outsource. Every text message I get where they're like, "Your Twitter has been hacked," I send it to Tanya.
I know.
And then I let Tanya look at it, and then her Twitter gets hacked.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I just
need a
send it
Tanya.
out. I go, "What is this?"
I
like,
need a
when
Tanya.
I don't trust anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got too much trust. We're old. We don't know how to
can't do
use
it.
technology.
I can't do it.
Anyway, Kraken has a special offer going on for the Flagrant fan. You sign up at Kraken mobile app at kraken.com/flagrant. Use the code flagrant25. You're going to get free Bitcoin. Kraken, invest in everything all in one app. Let's get it. Remember, this is not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss and is offered to U.S. customers excluding Washington, New York, and Maine through Payward Interactive Inc. Now let's get back to the show.
There is a newspaper in Illinois that criticizes Joseph Smith for his polygamous practices. I think at this point, Joseph Smith is the governor of some kind of province of Illinois. And so he decides to like shut down the newspaper because he doesn't like the criticism. So he like bans it. Then there's like a riot because he's like suppressed this newspaper. Then Joseph Smith institutes martial law because of the riots, and then he flees. And then I think the governor of Illinois says, "Okay, Joseph Smith, you've got to come back. You're going to face trial. We'll keep you fine, but just you got to come back." So Joseph Smith goes back. He gets put in prison, and then this big angry mob descend on the prison, and they break into the prison. They shoot his brother in the face. His brother says, "I'm a dead man," and then he dies. And then Joseph Smith tries to escape out of a window. They shoot him. He falls out of the window onto the floor, and they shoot him dead again. So he dies in what is essentially a prison shootout.
Whoa.
And for the Mormons, this is a site of religious martyrdom. So you can now go to that prison. It's now owned by the Latter-day Saints, and it's a site that they go to as the point of martyrdom for their prophet. There it is. There's the house.
Wow.
So Joseph Smith was killed falling out of that window. There's a
Wow.
there he is. So
That's wild.
big mob show up and kill him. So Joseph Smith becomes like a martyr, and that's that. And then there's your typical religious like succession crisis. Who's going to take over? I think there's a point where like I think it's Brigham Young who's giving a speech saying I should be the leader, and like multiple people report seeing him like transfigure into the likeness of Joseph Smith. There's all kinds of wacky stuff going on, right? And yeah, like it sounds kind of insane, but is that any more insane than some of the Christian stories that we hear?
But it was farther ago.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have this feeling.
So it's better.
Yeah, of course.
People sort of go like, "Oh, but that's ridiculous," as if God would appear to someone in upstate New York. That's ridiculous. It's like, well, that's how it sounded like God being born in Nazareth.
Yeah.
Like they even say in the
Galilee?
Gospels, like people are saying in the Gospels, like, is this not Joseph's son? Is this not the guy from Nazareth? Does anything good come from Nazareth? They're saying the same thing.
They're talking about it like it's Staten Island.
Yeah, they actually are. Yeah, seriously though, that's what's going on.
Why did Nazareth have a reputation of just?
It was just like a nowhere town.
It's like a fentanyl town.
The thing is, like the Jews are expecting a Messiah, and the Messiah, like there are different views on what the Messiah was going to be, but the sort of general line on this is that they were expecting people because they're at the time they're being persecuted by Rome, so they are awaiting their Messiah
to liberate them from.
who will come and liberate. So they're expecting like this military leader who's going to lead them into battle against Rome, and they're going to win.
They got a hippie.
They got a hippie, exactly. So
Was he really a hippie, or is that kind of the way that
depends what you mean by a hippie.
revisionist
Like
history?
he was pretty like he wasn't just like a sort of peace and love man.
kind of badass a little bit.
He said some pretty serious stuff and did some serious things. I mean, the obvious example.
Political revolutionary.
Yeah, he's
Flipping the
he's a healer,
table,
but yeah,
right?
flipping the
Like, he was
tables.
about that
He goes
action.
into the temple, and in John's gospel he makes a cord. He like put some cords together and turns it into a whip and goes around like with a whip driving people out of the temple because they're trading in his father's house. He also says some pretty serious stuff. He says like, if anybody does not hate their mother and their father and their brother and sister, they cannot be my disciple.
If anyone does not hate them,
Yeah, because hatred can kind of mean in this context like preference, like it's used elsewhere.
if you prefer them,
Yeah, so it's one of these slightly mystifying passages, but a lot of it has to do with like how these words are understood and used at the time. So it means something. So to say that you hate someone can mean that like comparatively you prefer me. So he's saying that you have to put me above your friends and family, which is very sort of culty. But the problem with cults is that they're wrong. That's the problem with the cult, is that they're not actually true. If the cult is true, then that probably is what you should do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Jesus is a complicated figure who does all kinds of different stuff, but his main message is one of love.
You make the claim in the Jubilee video that Christ doesn't claim to ever be God.
That's what I think, and that's controversial too. Amongst Christians, if you say Jesus never even claimed to be God, even in the Gospels, they'll look at you like you've said a triangle has four sides. Mm-hmm. In biblical scholarship, this has been a very mainstream opinion for the past few hundred years.
And why do you believe that?
Because there's no instance in the Gospels where I think Jesus is claiming to be God. Christians think that they have examples, but I think that all of them don't actually apply.
What are your examples and what are theirs?
So there are constantly examples of Jesus seeming to separate himself from the Father, where he says like the Father is greater than I am and stuff like this. And people like rattle these off. The problem is, devoid of any context, it's difficult to know what they even mean. So Christians will point to verses like when Jesus says in John chapter 10, he says, the Father and I are one. And when his disciple Philip asks him, when do we get to see the Father? He says to Philip, anyone who's seen me has seen the Father. And Christians point to that and they say, see, he's claiming to be God. But you just got to keep reading. He says to Philip, anyone has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Don't you know that the Father is in me and I'm in the Father? Interesting. Skip to John chapter 17, where Jesus is praying for his disciples and then for all of his Christian believers. And he's praying to the Father, and he says, I hope that they will all one day be in us, just as I am in you and you are in me. I hope that they will be in us and we'll all sort of be one together.
I hope.
Yeah, like he prays, like that. Yeah, like he's sort of praying for that to happen in the future, right? So whatever relationship Jesus has with the Father there, and being in him and him in him, it's something that he at least wants the disciples to one day achieve. So if that's Jesus claiming to be identical to Yahweh, the God Yahweh, then he must think that that's something that's available to the disciples.
To the rest of us, yeah.
That doesn't make sense. So we've got to reinterpret that first. Okay, like there are. This is in John's Gospel as well. Like, and the interesting thing is that most of these important Christological claims only appear in John's Gospel.
And John's is the latest.
John's is the latest.
Which you said has potential.
Yeah, so there's already reason to think it's less historically reliable because it's latest, but also the fact that Jesus is making these claims in front of all of his disciples. And if in John's Gospel he makes explicit claims to be God, like in John chapter 8, he says to his Jewish opponents, before Abraham was, I am. And I am is supposed to be like a callback to the name of God in the Old Testament, and he's claimed to be pre-existent because he exists before Abraham. And a lot of Christians say this is claiming to be God. And the first question that you should ask is, okay, if Jesus actually said this, and that did actually mean that by it, did the other gospel authors just not think it was an important detail? If Jesus said in the full view of his opponents and his disciples, I am God.
Yeah, you'd think it'd
and
be
the
in every
other
single
authors
gospel.
and people say to me, well, I think that the other gospel authors were sort of focusing on different things. I'm like, oh, so they just neglected to mention the point where Jesus said, I'm God. So I don't think he historically said this, but I also don't think that means what Christians think it means for some quite interesting techie reasons.
Wait, why?
So there are two elements of the I am statement here, like in John chapter 8. Jesus is speaking to his Jewish opponents, and they say, and he's talking about eternal life, and they say, well, our father Abraham, he died. Are you saying you're greater than him? And Jesus says, Abraham rejoiced to see my day. And the Jews say, you're not even 80 years old, and Abraham has seen you, you've seen Abraham. And he goes, truly I tell you, before Abraham was, I am. At which point they pick up stones to stone him to death. So the Christians say they knew he was committing blasphemy, they knew he was claiming to be God, that's why they tried to stone him to death. There are a few interesting things that need to be pulled out of this, right? The New Testament is written in Greek. So what Jesus actually says there is, before Abraham was, ego eimi, which means I am. That is also a phrase that can just mean like, it's me. It's a very normal phrase that is used in Greek. So in the next chapter, Jesus heals a blind man. The blind man runs into town, and they say, isn't this the man who was born blind? And the man says, ego eimi. It's me. Yeah. So sometimes it can mean that. But in this context, it's a little bit weird because he uses it in the present tense. He says, before Abraham was, I am. Or it's me. Or something like that. People think that what's going on here...
Ebonics.
In the old...
Ebonics. No. He's just going, I'm him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Go.
I actually kind of think that's basically what is going on, actually. But like
uneducated?
I think no. I mean, like when you know that sort of like you know, I'm him kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think some of the like Son of Man statements kind of approximate something.
Okay.
But whatever. In the Old Testament, in the book of Exodus, which is written in Hebrew, Moses is talking to God, and God says to and God like is speaking to him through the burning bush and all this kind of stuff. And Moses says, when I go back to my people, who shall I tell them sent me? Like, what's your name? And God says, Eesha, Asher, Eesha. I am that I am, or I am who I am. So go and tell them that I am has sent you. Eesha, Asher, Eesha. Go and tell them that Eesha has sent you. And so when Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am, he is invoking the name that God gave himself in Exodus, which is I am. So that's the line. That's why they think that's the case. I'm suspicious of this for a few reasons. Firstly, it can also just be a normal statement. So let's figure out which one is going on here. The Old Testament is written in Hebrew mostly. And this passage, Eesha, Asher, Eesha, means something like I am that I am. But the New Testament's written in Greek. So the people who wrote the New Testament were using a Greek translation of the Old Testament. Right?
Oh, got it.
They're writing in
not
Greek.
consuming the Hebrew.
No.
They're consuming the Greek.
And it's well known, we have good evidence that the New Testament authors are using a translation of the Old Testament called the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Right. So we know that is their Old Testament.
So Asia
Yeah.
translates to in Greek.
Ego Amy ho on.
Ha-on is.
So this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, this
in
is
the,
wild.
In the Greek version,
Yeah.
if you read the Septuagint, God doesn't say the same thing twice. So in Hebrew, he says, Esha, 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 I am that I am. So it's the same thing twice. And then he says, go and tell them that I am has sent you. So he says it 3 times. In the Greek version, he says, what shall I call them? And God says in response, ego Amy ho on, which means something like, I am the one who is. I am, ego Amy, the one who is, ho on. So go and tell them, ho on has sent you.
I is.
It doesn't.
Who is?
It doesn't say go and tell them
I
ego
am
Amy
sent.
has sent you. It says go and tell them ho on has sent you.
So
The version that the New Testament authors were using, I think, if they were trying to invoke this passage, they would have had him say something like ho on. But he just said ego Amy. So in the Greek Septuagint, when God says this to Moses, the function of the phrase ego Amy is just introducing yourself. You're just saying, I am the one who is. It's like saying, I am Alex.
Yeah.
My name is Alex, and the I am bit there is just me introducing the phrase. So I think in the Greek version, ego Amy ho on, go and tell them that ho on has sent you. And so when Jesus says, before Abraham was ego Amy, it's not obvious to me that he's making a callback to because firstly, I don't think Jesus said these words. I think that it's an invention of John's gospel, and we know that John was using the Septuagint, and so I don't think that adds up. But there is still a mystery there. Why does Jesus say that he existed before Abraham, and why does he speak in the present tense? Why does he say I am? Why doesn't he say before Abraham existed, I did? Why does he say I am?
Sorry, do you have an answer for this? Because
I've got some speculation.
Please tell me.
So I think that what might be going on here is an allusion to the fact that Jesus, as the redemptive solution to mankind's problems, was planned by God from the very beginning of time. So in the book of Revelation, there's a reference to the Lamb who was slain from the beginning of time. Speaking about Jesus. Jesus was not slain at the beginning of time. So why does it say he was slain from the beginning of time? What it's clearly getting at is that from the very beginning of time, God knew
destined that
exactly.
He would be slain.
So I think that Jesus is doing something similar here in saying, before Abraham was, I am. Before Abraham was, this plan, the thing that I'm embodied is here. And there's some really interesting indications that might be what's going on, because there's a first century text called the Apocalypse of Abraham, which is a Jewish text. It's not in any Christian canons, but it was a Jewish text that existed, and you can read it online today. And it tells the story of Abraham. And importantly, this isn't canon, but it does tell us what some people believed. It tells us what some stories that people were familiar with. This was written around the same time as the Gospels, probably around 70 to 100 AD. And it tells the story of Abraham. And Abraham hears the voice of God, and he leaves his home, and he's terrified, and he hits the floor. And then an angel appears to him. And God says to the angel, who's called Yahoel, who has the name of God in him, which again, Yahoel, Yah and El, same root as Yahweh and Elohim. So he's got the name of God in him too. And he says to Abraham, get up. And Abraham gets up, and he's terrified. And the angel says to him, rejoice and be glad, because I'm promising for you that someone who will, the generations that will spring from you will bring some kind of redemption or something like this. He basically says, be glad and rejoice, because redemption is coming, salvation is coming, and from your generations. So interesting then that in John chapter 8, the context of this divine claim is Abraham. Jesus is talking about Abraham. And what does he say to them? He says, Abraham rejoiced to see my day. And they get confused. So you're not even 80 years old. How have you seen Abraham? And he says, before Abraham was, I am. I think what he might be getting at there is saying, Abraham rejoiced to see my day, in the sense that Abraham was promised, he's the patriarch of the Jewish faith, and he was promised what I am now bringing to fulfill. Before Abraham was, I am. I think that's what's going on. Now, to be clear,
and Christians give pushback on this?
Of course, yeah. Christians will listen to this and they'll be like, that is complete and utter nonsense. Jesus is very clearly invoking the I am statement. That it's so clunky that he would word it like that. And why would they pick up stones to stone him for death if they didn't think he was committing blasphemy? That doesn't make any sense. The key point I want to point out is that the thing about the Jewish...
Prophecy is upheld, no?
The thing about the Jewish opponents is that they're constantly misunderstanding Jesus. And so people put a lot of weight on the idea that they stoned him to death and they accused him of blasphemy. And it's yeah, but throughout the Gospels, they're constantly getting him wrong. You think in this instance they suddenly were absolutely correct in their interpretation of what Jesus was saying? I don't think so. In fact, there's one point in the Gospels, it's the only time this happens, where Jesus is explicitly accused of claiming to be God. It happens. They say, you're claiming to be God. And Jesus downplays it. It's semi-complicated in that there's a psalm in the Old Testament. This is Psalm 82, which opens by saying that Yahweh presides among the council of the gods. Elohim, gods. It's a bit weird. Like, how is Yahweh the only God? Like, presiding over a council of gods. That doesn't make any sense. And then later in the psalm it says, I have said that you are gods. You shall be sons of the Most High. So in the psalm, what's clearly happening here is the word gods here, and some translation puts it in scare quotes. The word God here doesn't mean God as in like Yahweh. It means God as in like a divine member of this council, right? And God clarifies, the psalmist clarifies in Psalm 82, he says, I shall call you gods. You shall be called gods, sons of the Most High. So clarifying that what I mean is that you are not the Most High, you are sons of the Most High, right? Okay, park that. And bear in mind that most Jews are familiar with Jewish scripture, right? Jesus is talking to his Jewish opponents. And this time, he says, I and the Father are one. Because they're asking about his identity. They say, if you're the Messiah, tell us plainly. And he says, I and the Father are one. And the Jewish opponents say to him, they pick up stones again. They go to stone him to death. And he goes like, I'm just telling you the works of my Father. What are you stoning me for? For I've been telling you things of my Father. For which of those do you stone me? And they say, we're not stoning you for any good works. We're stoning you because you, a mere human, claim to be God. So they accuse him. Here it is, the most dramatic, most important moment of the Gospels for Christology. You're claiming to be God. What does Jesus say? Does he go, yeah, you're right? No, he says to them, have you not read your scriptures? Is it not written that you shall become gods, or you shall be called gods? So he quotes the psalm that I've just mentioned, which expressly calls non-gods, like non-Yahweh beings, gods. And when asked about his identity, he chooses to quote that psalm. And he says to them, is it not written, you shall be called gods? If God was willing to give those people that title, and the scripture can't be set aside, then why wouldn't he give that title to me? He then says, so why are you then accusing me of blasphemy for claiming to be the Son of God? So he clarifies. They say, you're claiming to be God. And he says, have you not read your scriptures? This is just a title that was given to the divine council. If he'd give it to them, why wouldn't he give it to me? Why are you accusing me of blasphemy for claiming to be the Son of God? Because they're the sons of the Most High. And so the one point where Jesus is explicitly accused of claiming to be God, in my view, he
goes, I'm not.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I think he's saying he's not. So Christians, again, will interpret this and say, like, okay, he's answering in a very clever way, which sort of doesn't deny his divinity.
Saying we all are.
But no, well, they don't want to say that we're all divine. They want to say that he is claiming to be God here, but he's doing it. He's probably answering in this way because he's being intentionally unclear, because it's not his time to die yet, whatever. I read this as him denying, like, that he's identical to God.
I see their argument too. I think it's a really clever argument, because he's basically going, you can't say that I'm blaspheming if I am upholding scripture, right? So if you're going to kill me for that, and you're going to uphold your law, point out in the book where I'm blaspheming.
But the key thing to notice is that, like, in this case, they pick up stones to stone him, and he goes like, why are you accusing me of blasphemy? I'm not doing what you think I'm doing. And so when it comes to John chapter 8, when it comes to John chapter 8, and Christians often say, well, why would they like throw stones at him and try to kill him if he wasn't claiming to be God? It's like, well, because somewhere else in the Gospels they tried to stone him for claiming to be God, and they were wrong. So I don't think that they got it right, you know?
And what about the worship of Christ? Like the people at the time worshiping him?
This is another big thing, like worship. Worship is something that's only given to God. In fact, when in the Gospels of Luke and Matthew, Jesus is in the desert being tempted by Satan, and Satan says, if you just bow down and worship me, I will give you all of this land. And Jesus says, worship God and serve him only. And yet, throughout the Gospels, Jesus is worshipped and he accepts worship. So he must be God, right? A few things to note. First, how many times the first important thing to note is what the word worship means. It's difficult to define even in English, but in Greek there are two words that are typically translated as worship in the New Testament. One is proskuneo, and one is latruo. Proskuneo just means to sort of bow down or prostrate yourself before a higher authority. Latruo tends to refer to like cultic religious worship of the kind that you might give to God. In no instance is latruo worship given to Jesus in the Gospels. There is arguably an ambiguous case in Revelation. We can get into that, but it's not a historical source anyway, and also it's not clear if Jesus is actually being worshipped there. But in the Gospels, not once does latruo worship occur, being given to Jesus. So we're just left with proskuneo worship. Now, proskuneo, like I say, just means to bow down or prostrate yourself before somebody else. So if only God is supposed to accept worship, then let's look again at that Greek Old Testament, the Septuagint. Remember I mentioned it earlier? Mm-hmm. Throughout the Septuagint, the word proskuneo comes up all the time. Lot worships two angels. Jacob worships Esau. The whole assembly of Israel worship King David, proskuneo, King David. Like this throughout the gospel, throughout the Old Testament, there are tons of instances of proskuneo worship being given to other people.
So it's a different type of
in the New Testament. Jesus tells a parable, the unmerciful servant who comes back to his master and he proskuneos before him. He just falls at his feet. And so in some instances, it is just translated as falling down at someone's feet, because that is what proskuneo literally means, right? And so proskuneo, as occurring to Jesus, doesn't mean it's worship of the kind that we would say is only due to God. It's just literally bowing down in front of somebody. Another thing to notice, this is really important. How many times does Jesus accept worship in Luke's gospel? 0. It doesn't happen once. The word only shows up 3 times, twice in the temptation in the desert, and then once after Jesus ascends, his disciples worship him. But that's after he's gone, so he can't say anything about it. And crucially, that is a verse, that particular verse of them worshiping him is contested in our manuscript tradition. There are some manuscripts we have that don't have that verse in. Mark's gospel, the earliest gospel, how many times did Jesus accept worship? Twice. Happens twice. Okay, so it does happen twice. But one of those is a demon, Legion, who, if you read most translations, he sees Jesus and the man runs at Jesus and throws himself down at his feet. And it doesn't say he worshipped him. Some translations will say that, but usually it's like he fell down at his feet, because that's what it means. The only other instance of proskuneo in the Gospel of Mark is Jesus being worshipped when he's being mocked by the Roman soldiers.
Oh, so they're pretending.
So they put a crown of thorns on his head and then they worship him. Why? Because he's the king of the Jews. Because kings are people that you worship, you bow down before them. So they're making fun of him. They're like, "Oh, King of the Jews, King of the Jews." It's not something they don't think he's God. They think he's claiming to be the King of the Jews, and they're making fun of him. So even in Mark's gospel, the earliest gospel, there are only 2 instances of proskuneo. One of them is a demon, and one of them is sarcastic. In John's gospel, there's only 1 instance of Jesus accepting worship. This is after the blind man who I mentioned earlier. He's healed. This is the deaf and mute man, I think. And Jesus finds him again and he says, "Lord, I believe," and he worships him. First thing to note is, again, this can just mean bowing down in front of somebody, but also that particular verse, the verse where it says he worshipped him, is not in our earliest manuscripts. Codex Vaticanus, Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Washingtonianus. It's not in there. It's not in the early manuscripts, implying that it's something that was added into the Gospels after the fact.
It's like what Florida's doing with textbooks.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, right?
Sorry, I have a question. This won't jibe with the proskuneo stuff that you were saying, but when you said God said you are also God to the group of people, have you read the autobiography of a yogi?
No.
It's a Hindu guy who becomes a yogi, and he says essentially, yogi is a man who achieves God-like, not status, but God is within you, and you've realized it. You've reached that place. He says Jesus is a yogi, Muhammad is a yogi. These guys are people who have achieved that, and they would have a following, and and it kind of proves that we can all do this thing.
Yeah.
Does that jibe with what I'm hearing from you?
So that jives very heavily with what I think Jesus is doing. Christians will deny that interpretation because they think Jesus is the guy. He's like a very unique kind of person, God himself in the flesh. I'm much more in line with this, that Jesus is somebody who is essentially the idyllic example of what a faithful person should be. And there are lots of reasons why I think that. But I do think it's important on the proskuneo point. I'll wrap that up just because I know I banged on about worship, but it's important because remember how we started, where I pointed out that in Luke and Matthew, Jesus is speaking to Satan. And Satan says, "Worship me." And Jesus says, "Worship God and serve him only." So why does Jesus say that if worship is something you can give to other people. This is where I think this is something I think is really interesting. If your interpretation is Jesus is saying there that you should only offer proskuneo worship to God himself, then all of those people that I've just mentioned sinned. You know, Lot sinned, Jacob sinned, the whole assembly of Israel sinned when they bowed down towards David. So that can't be it. So what's going on there? Well, notice how that's phrased. And he's quoting Deuteronomy chapter 6, which actually doesn't say the same thing. It's kind of weird. But Jesus says, worship God and serve him only. He doesn't say only worship God. He says worship God and serve him only. Let's look at the Greek. The word proskuneo, worship God, and then serve him only. So the word only is affixed to the word serve, not worship. Can you guess what the word in Greek for serve is there that's translated into serve? Latruo.
Which is the
other one, which is the cultic religious worship that's usually only given to God or some kind of divine figure at the very least.
So even in the language of the Gospels, there is a division in the idea of worship.
So it seems in that instance, my interpretation is Jesus is saying, worship God because he's a higher authority. And he's rejecting Satan's worship. He's saying, I'm not going to bow down to you because you're not a higher authority over me. And it's written, I like, worship God. Also, that's not written. It's really weird. He's quoting Deuteronomy 6:5, but Deuteronomy 6:5 says something like fear God and serve him only. It doesn't say worship. Which is an interesting implication if he's rendered the word fear as worship. It can't mean the kind of worship that we're talking about, right? And Jesus says, so it's a bit mystifying to some people. Well, why did Jesus say that to Satan in the desert? The reason is because he's saying you should worship God, but you serve him only. Because if you think that Jesus was saying there you should only offer proskuneo worship to God, then all of these people sinned, including, by the way, people that Jesus mentions himself. Jesus himself tells the parable of the unmerciful servant who proskuneo worships before his master. In the book of Revelation, Jesus promises to his faithful believers that all of the other evil nations will one day proskuneo before them. Jesus says all of these people will worship you. That's out of the mouth of Jesus in the book of Revelation. So it cannot be that proskuneo worship is something that's only due to God. So in the book of Matthew, there are lots of instances of Jesus being worshipped. Mark, Luke, and John are totally unconcerned with worship. Matthew, it happens a lot. But I think you need to understand the context, which is that worshipping someone in the sense of proskuneo is something that people just did to a higher authority, someone who was of a higher status than you, like, I don't know, maybe being the Messiah.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's no mystery to me, in other words, that Jesus would be worshipped in the sense of proskuneo. Today, when we say the word worship, we mean something a bit different. Also, here's an interesting question. Riddle me this. If proskuneo worship is the kind of worship that's given to God and only God, then why is it that after Jesus ascends into heaven, nobody offers proskuneo worship anymore? They don't. There's no instance of like there's the word proskuneo shows up, but Jesus is not given proskuneo worship. Like in the book of Acts, for example, the disciples are going around and they're not going around offering proskuneo to Jesus up in heaven. Why? Why not? In my view, it's because proskuneo is just a physical action. It describes a physical behavior of bowing down and prostrating before someone who's of a higher authority.
And if someone's not there, you can't do it.
If it were to mean like cultic religious worship due to God, then they would keep doing it after he ascended into heaven, but they don't. And there are instances, so Christians will dispute this again because they'll say, like in the book of Acts, somebody bows down before Peter, they proskuneo before Peter the apostle, and Peter says, get up, because I'm just a human like you. And they say, see, so Peter's saying that you don't worship other humans, you only worship God. But I don't think that's what Peter was saying. I think he was saying, get up. He says, I am also just a man, as in I'm the same status as you. Like I'm not your authority. Like worship God. He's our authority.
The other type of worship for someone.
Latruo.
Yeah. How many times is that mentioned in the New Testament?
It's mentioned a few times.
And in referring to.
So the most interesting case for me is Revelation. So Revelation is a wacky book. And so I want to clarify by saying that even if Revelation just said Jesus is God, I wouldn't trust it as a historical source. It does seem to present Jesus as a very exalted being, probably God himself. Like at one point, Jesus seems to claim to be the Alpha and the Omega, which is a title of God. One instance, it's not entirely clear who's speaking, but in another instance, it's like Jesus saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega. That's something only God says. It seems like he's claiming to be God in the book of Revelation, which is a vision that a guy called John has on an island called Patmos. And there are two instances of Latruo in Revelation where it's a bit unclear. What happens is you've got the Lamb who sort of sits on or in the center of or nearby the throne. So there's the throne of God, and there's this throne of the Lamb. And it's not entirely clear what the organizational structure is. So there's like the throne of God, and then the Lamb is like either on the throne or in the middle of the throne. And then it says that latruo worship was given to him. So the only two times it occurs is when we're talking about the Almighty God, the Father, and Jesus, and they're sort of together in a very ambiguous sense. And then it always uses the singular pronoun of him. It never says them. It always says him. So those instances of latruo, I think it's defensible that the person actually being worshipped there is God the Father, is the Almighty God. But it does seem a little bit weird that Jesus, or the Lamb, is like on the throne or near the throne. So maybe Jesus is being given latruo there, but it seems weird that it would say that they worshipped him rather than they worshipped then. You've got God and the Son, and they worshipped him.
But never in the four Gospels was...
Never in the Gospels is latruo worship given to Jesus. Doesn't
This
happen
idea
once.
of Jesus being...
Not once. Isn't that fun?
That is.
Isn't that cool? It does not happen at all. The key text here, by the way, is "Did the early Christians worship Jesus?" by
It's fun
James
for you.
Dunn.
Look at Mark's face. He's having a
melting. I sweat over it. Is this interpretation that you have of Jesus similar to the Muslim interpretation of Jesus?
It is in the sense of not thinking he claimed to be God. So yeah, this is an interesting thing. So Muslims don't believe that Jesus died on a cross. They don't believe that he was God. They don't believe he claimed to be God. They believe he was a prophet. And so they take a lot of the same lines I do here. But of course, they're motivated for different reasons. Of course. I'm just interested in the historical figure of Jesus. But yeah, a lot of these arguments, like if you... And the annoying thing is that a lot of the time, this debate only seems to happen in the context of Christians versus Muslims, because atheists don't care. Who cares? Right. Oh, Jesus said, oh, I in the Father, and whatever, man. Like who cares? I'm going to go and get lunch. You know? Yeah. But I'm interested. But it means that like when Christians are debating with Muslims, so for example, when Jesus says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, I'm the first and the last, you know, a Christian could say, but in the Quran, that's a title that God gives to himself. You know, in the Quran...
so they're using scripture
one of the names of God in the Quran is Al-Haq, which means the truth. I am the truth. And Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Right.
And so if your God says that the truth is one of his titles, here's Jesus claiming to be God. Right? So they have these kinds of debates. That doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
So when Muslims are on the offensive on this point, they will use some of the same arguments. They will point out that, like... Firstly, they'll be suspicious of John's historicity. They'll point out that when he says, I and the Father are one, he seems to be saying that we can all be one all together. Right. All of this kind of stuff.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second, okay? When it comes to supplements, there's a lot of misinformation and fake claims, and that's why you need Groons. This thing right here, I devour these, okay? Some genius over at Groons realized that you could put all the most important things in those supplements stacked into a gummy. And they are delicious. I'm talking about the multivitamins, the greens powder, the prebiotic, all of the good things, all those things. And you know what? They're at a fraction of the price. Now you're not carrying around like 14 tubs so you can get your needs. You can supplement your body so you can give it the things that it craves so you can have an active, successful life. Being healthy has never been more convenient or tasted better. You can put these in your beach bag, your carry-on suitcase, wherever the hell that you're going this summer. It's packable, it's snackable, it tastes delicious. Everyone in the studio is eating them. My point is, it's low sugar, gut healthy, and has immunity and cognition benefits, and you want them now, okay? So you want a supplement that you can enjoy. This isn't a chore, it's something you look forward to. You go to www.groons.co, get up to 52% off when you use the code FLAGRANT. Now let's get back to the show. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. I want to tell you about the best protein bars on the planet. You've already started to see these. I know you have because, listen, I don't have the date on this that it's the fastest growing protein bar on the planet, but I'm going to tell you it is because I see them everywhere and I see one at the bottom. I see all these other protein bars. There's like the full box is full. There's like one or two at the bottom of these every time I walk into a store in New York City. I hope other cities get them. I hope other states get them. I hope you get them worldwide. Why? Because it has what you want in a protein bar, which is the most protein and the lowest calories. They have 28 grams of protein in this and only 150 calories, 0 grams of sugar. You would think something with this protein to calorie ratio, you would probably sacrifice on taste. No, delicious. Sorry, they figured it out. Sorry, other protein bars, they figured it out, okay? Adequate protein intake is critical for building and preserving muscle mass now and as we age. It also plays a vital role in managing metabolic health and preventing excess body fat accumulation, reducing the risk of various diseases. David has the most protein per calorie, so eating 100 calories of David will make you feel fuller than eating 100 calories of any other bar. David is also available in stores in NYC, so if you're in New York, stop by your local bodega to get your protein. If you're not in New York, David comes in 6 delicious flavors, and they're all worth trying. Also, if you buy 4 cartons, which you will, you'll get a 5th for free. If you're curious, try it for yourself at davidprotein.com/flagrant. Now let's get back to the show.
Is it possible that the early language of Christ had different like oral tradition that then when it was translated into Greek, some of those things got lost?
Yeah, so that's really important too, is that Jesus spoke Aramaic. So this is something I always find incredibly interesting when people are really hanging on every word that Jesus said. Okay, you guys are listening very carefully to what I'm saying, right? You paying attention?
Yeah.
Can any of you
No.
recite,
No.
excluding this one, the last sentence I just said? Just tell me the last sentence.
I'm still trying to pronounce Latruna or whatever. That depression medication you were telling us about. Yeah, okay, wow. So
Side effects include visions of God.
So, okay, wow, yes. So obviously there's going to be some...
You can't remember
Yeah.
the words that I said to you 20 seconds ago, but I'm expected to believe that the New Testament authors who were writing, at best, decades after the death of Jesus, could remember his exact words and write them down accurately in a language that he wasn't speaking.
In a language that he wasn't
It's like,
speaking is
no, wait a minute.
interesting.
Now, what's important to note there, though, is that, like, if I said something really particular, like if I were talking to you and then I suddenly said, you know, I'm a famous songwriter or something, that might stick in your memory such that in like a month or two, you could remember that I said that because it was important. So if Jesus said, before Abraham was, I am, that's the kind of thing that people could remember.
This is my body.
Exactly. But like the I am thing, like, oh, well, he was quoting the Old Testament. Okay, so we've got a Greek rendition. Well, actually, when we say it in English, we're using an English translation of a Greek text, quoting an Aramaic-speaking man, allegedly quoting a Hebrew scripture.
Yeah.
There are a lot of chains of transmission that we have to investigate and see what's.
And I might have misunderstood you, but 40 years later at the earliest, I don't...
Is when it's written down.
If I'm quoting something you said last week, I don't know.
Yeah. Some people think that John's Gospel is earlier. So John's Gospel tends to be dated to 90 to 100 AD. Some people date it earlier because there's one verse in John's Gospel, John chapter 5. It opens up by saying, now there is a pool by the sheep's gate. And it says, at this pool, this is what happened. But John says there is a pool. The temple was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. And so if John's writing his gospel, and this isn't like Jesus...
He's writing in real time.
He says, now there is a sheep's gate near the pool. If that sheep gate had been destroyed, then why would he have written it like that? So some people, for that reason, put John pre-70. Kind of interesting. But the important thing to note is that it's all speculative. But at the very least, yeah, we're talking, that's why I say at best, decades after. Some
Why did
scholars
they
have
wait decades after to write it?
That's a good question. I mean, why were the Gospels written in the first place, right? Like, Jesus is going around saying his stuff, and he's got disciples and stuff, and there are different philosophies on this. One is that some people think that Mark's Gospel, which is the first one, was written in order to deal with the destruction of the temple. The temple is the most important site for Jews, even today, right? But the temple at the time, like, part of being a Jew involved, like, practices that you have to do at the temple. So for them, this is like God's house. This is where it happens. And so when that temple is destroyed, what do you do?
Yeah.
How are you going to interpret this? And in many respects, Jesus is presenting himself as the new temple, And so some people think that Mark's Gospel is written as a sort of way to respond to the temple's destruction, because he talks about the temple being destroyed a fair bit.
Going back, what is it, 60 years? What was happening at the time that allowed John the Baptist to rise in popularity? Like, what was happening culturally? Is there any conversation about that? Why, like, forgiveness could have been so important?
Well, forgiveness has always been important in religious traditions, but it's seen as the prerogative of God.
Right.
And so it's unlikely that the Christians won't think that John the Baptist was actually forgiving sins. They will think that he was like announcing the forgiveness of sins or helping people participate in a ritual whereby God would forgive them.
But why was this so popular then? Were there other people throughout history at that time that were also implementing this? Like, what was the societal utility that made him rise to superstardom? As you said, everybody from Judea is going there.
We don't know because we don't have a lot of details about John the Baptist in particular. But we
He's
know
fascinating from what you're telling me right now.
He's my favorite character.
Yeah, why is there so? I mean, obviously you're right next to the J-Man, so it's going to be tough to live in that shadow. But like to me, you start something that seems to be a break off from Judaism. I don't know how many other of these religions are existing at the time, but he seems to be the one that's the most popular. And then his descendant becomes, or his disciple becomes God. So like, what is happening with him?
I'm fascinated by him. And the thing is, we just don't have very much information at all because the Gospels are so dense and there is so much in them. You'd be amazed at some of the things that you can pull out and things that people are still noticing today that they haven't noticed before about the Gospels. And yet, for some of our most famous figures, like John the Baptist or like Mary Magdalene, these people are like hardly mentioned. We have like no information about them. We don't know where they get their names. We don't know why she's called Mary Magdalene. Was there a place called Magdalene? Maybe. There's a place called Magdalene like in Israel, but it's unclear whether there's a connection there. Judas Iscariot. Why is he called Judas Iscariot? No one knows. There are theories about this. It could be because he was a member of a particular sect that used to murder Roman officials with a dagger, and the word for dagger is something like Icarii or something, and there was a group of people called the Icarii. And maybe Iscariot kind of sounds like that's.
But this is very
derivative.
speculative.
No one knows. John the Baptist is someone that we just don't have that much information about.
And John the Baptist was residing in the woods around Nazareth?
In the wilderness, yeah.
But around Nazareth?
Around like Jerusalem, I think.
So then how does Jesus even come to meet?
Sorry, no, he would be. Yeah, I actually
Where's
don't
that
know I don't know
connectivity?
whereabouts. I don't know whereabouts. So he's probably not Jerusalem.
Was that?
They're cousins
Oh, they're related.
by 6 months.
Yeah, so
John the Baptist is 6 months older than Jesus.
Oh, so we know each other their whole life. And he's watching this guy come up and he's like, hey, this.
So they, but then again, like the story is in Luke's gospel. So you know the birth story of Jesus, born in a manger, all this kind of stuff. That's only in 2 of the gospels. It's only in Matthew and it's in Luke, and they tell slightly different stories with emphasis on different things. Luke's gospel opens with the birth of, or the pregnancy resulting in John the Baptist.
Wait, what do you mean resulting in John the Baptist?
So like his parents.
His parents.
So the priest, Zechariah.
Oh, okay. So John is born.
So John, before he's born, like there's the pregnancy, and it's like a miraculous pregnancy.
For John the Baptist as well?
Yeah, in the sense that, like, I think Elizabeth was not supposed to be able to, like, conceive.
You should love this guy. He also wrote a special about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, this is my guy. He did IVF? Okay.
Yeah.
So she wasn't supposed to conceive. It was very difficult to conceive.
Yeah,
and then she conceives, and here's John the Baptist.
And it's all sort of, but the thing to note is, and this is, yeah, they're cousins because then Mary is pregnant with Jesus, and then Mary meets Elizabeth, and John the Baptist does a backflip in his mother's womb when she approaches Mary, who's pregnant with Jesus, and John the Baptist does a little backflip. It's kind of wacky, man. But the thing is, these birth narratives, in my view, are basically completely mythological.
Right.
I don't think there's any history in them.
Right.
So I'm not sure if Jesus was actually related to John the Baptist. I certainly don't think that there was the backflip in the womb.
But we can place them in the same city at least. Like there's a reason why they connect.
Yeah,
outside.
I mean, they clearly historically were actually like I say, I think Jesus is a follower of John the Baptist because like John is in the wilderness of Israel, and Jesus comes and gets baptized by John the Baptist. I mean, Jesus is sort of all over the place in his childhood. Like there's like a census, and so he has to like travel, and then he has to go here and has to go there, and then he goes to Egypt because he's scared that Herod's going to kill him.
Yeah, how old and before Jesus started claiming to be like that dude?
Well, depends which gospel you read, because there is an indication that Jesus was like teaching in the temple when he was a teenager. So there's one story in the Gospels of like, I think his family are like going back from Jerusalem. I can't remember all the details. It might have been the Passover or something. And they're all leaving and they're going home. And then they suddenly realize that Jesus isn't with them. So they go back and they find him like in the temple, like
it's Home Alone,
arguing and talking. Yeah, literally. But he's arguing and talking with the like Jewish teachers. And they're all like, this kid knows so much. Like, this is incredible. And he's like impressing everybody with his skills and with his knowledge. Outside of that, the so-called missing years of Jesus There's like no record of what he just shows up when he's like 30.
Yeah, I thought he was just
and gets
like,
baptized by Jesus.
Jesus for 33 years, and then all of a sudden, he
so this is
becomes
where you
Jesus.
get conspiracy theories. Well, Jesus traveled to India, and that's where he got his.
We're just like we're always there. Dude.
yeah.
Unbelievable how right.
Source.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to think like, oh, well, he was preaching kind
He's
of
the first appropriator.
all of this. Yeah. Like, where's he getting these ideas? He's getting them from like the East, and we don't know what Jesus was doing. I mean, the reason why I think we have the missing years of Jesus is because there was no reason to write about this Jesus figure until he started his ministry. The birth narratives were made up later and tacked on, as often happened with biographies of important figures. There were like mythological origin stories, the miraculous birth of Alexander the Great or whatever. So I think we just didn't have any records of this guy because he was a nobody until he showed up.
It was an eat, pray, love, dude. It was the first eat, pray, love. This long-haired white guy.
That's right, man.
Went to India, ate good food, got spiritual. It's exactly what happened.
That's right. So I think he basically did just show up and start doing that.
And if he was so clear that he wasn't divine, why did Christology come after his death?
That is a hell of a question. And in fact, Brant Pitre's recent it's called Jesus and Divine Christology, which is an attempt to show that Jesus did claim to be God. And he opens up with what he calls the paradox of how most scholars think that Jesus didn't make divine claims, but most scholars believe in what's called an early high Christology. So early on, people had a high Christology. They believed that Jesus was God. So why is it that if he didn't make any claims to be God himself, why is it that so soon afterwards, people started believing that he was God?
So John the Baptist was also martyred.
Yeah, he was.
Around the same time.
He was. And why do these beliefs develop around Jesus? That's a historical question. And obviously I don't know like the answer to it, but I think it's clear to me to see how like myths can develop over time. But this is where it gets a little bit speculative from my view, because Brant Pitre's view is that, well, the logical answer to this is that he was making divine claims. There are so many ways that you could interpret what's happened here. Firstly, I'm not sure exactly when it is that people start believing this. So remember I said that Paul's letters are our earliest New Testament source. A lot of people read Paul's letters and they say Paul is clearly presenting Jesus as God. And if that's the case, then you're looking like 50 AD, already got the belief that Jesus is God. I'm not so sure. Other people look at Paul and see him as not so obviously like high Christology in the way that people want him to be. He might be more of like a mystic. Some people think he's more of like a visionary. There's a lot of theories about what's going on in Paul. So it depends on what you think of Paul as to how early this actually develops. And yeah, like it's probably within decades, certainly like 100 years or so, that people start talking about Jesus as God. But then the nature of Jesus is also not entirely clear. You know, some people are like, well, was he God and he just appeared to be a human? Was he sort of half God, half man? Did he become God at the baptism? Was he God as soon as he was born? Did he exist beforehand? Did he come down to earth and in somebody, or did he begin to exist in Jesus? And none of this really gets sorted out until they start getting Christian councils together to decide on orthodoxy. And so you've got the Council of Nicaea in 325, which a lot of people think is where they developed the Christian canon. That's not the case, but they did develop the view on Jesus' relationship to the Father, which was quite important.
So they just define it. 325. That's when they lock it in.
They have a big discussion, yeah, and they bring all the bishops together.
That discussion as well.
They bring all the bishops together, and specifically, I think, like the relationship of the Son to the Father, and the idea that so you get what's called the Nicene Creed, which Christians will recite today, which basically lays out, we believe in one God, we believe in the Father, we believe that, Jesus is eternally begotten of the Father, all of this kind of stuff. They just lay it out, the relationship of the Trinity, all that kind of stuff. But the question is, well, why is it that in the early church people started believing that Jesus was God? Regardless of when this finally got solidified, how does this get off the rails? An important thing to note is that not everybody thought that. There were like all kinds of different Christian views. So I'm really big on the Gnostic Christian history because I find it really interesting. And that so Elaine Pagels writes a book in 1975 called or the 1970s, I can't remember when, called The Gnostic Gospels. And her big thing is saying there is this idea that in the early Christian church, Jesus dies, all of the, Peter is the first pope, and you develop all of these churches and they all basically agree, and then there are a few disputes, so they iron them out, and that's Christianity. And she's like, no, there are communities of people who believe the most wacky and incredible things about Jesus fairly early on. Like, if you've ever read the Gospel of Judas, it is a complete trip. It is a complete and utter trip, and it does present Jesus as in the form of a human, but not really a human. He's God. He's sent from the realm of Barbello, and he comes down to free people from their material prisons and bring them back up into the plethora to be there with all of the proper divine beings. Totally wacky, different view of Jesus. And we know that this text existed prior to 180 AD. We know that for a fact.
In that same text, doesn't he claim that Judas will supersede all the other disciples because he's doing the will of the Father?
So when the Gospel of Judas was first discovered, it seemed like Judas was the hero. Because, so, like, this is discovered in like the 1970s. We know that this text exists, but it's been lost for thousands of years. But there's a guy called Irenaeus who in 180 writes Against Heresies, and he's like condemning all these different heresies, and he talks about this Gospel of Judas. So we knew it existed, but we didn't have it. And in the 1970s, it's discovered. People are trying to sell it. It goes back and forth. It goes all over the place. It spends about 16 years in a safety deposit box in New York City, which almost destroys it. Finally, it gets bought by National Geographic, and they bring in some experts. Bart Ehrman is one of them who I've had on my show, and to like find out if this is really the Gospel of Judas. So they're looking at this text, and they're reading it, and it opens up by saying that it tells a story that the disciples are praying over their food. They're performing a Eucharist. Jesus walks in and sees them praying over their food, and he laughs at them. And they say, why are you laughing at us? We're doing what's right. And Jesus says, yeah, you're worshipping your God by doing that. You're worshipping your God by doing that. And they're like, and they start getting angry. They're like, what? And he's basically saying, you don't understand any of this. And he says to them, if any one of you is clever enough, then stand up and face me. And guess who stands up? It's Judas. Judas comes up to him and says, I know who you are. I know that you've come from the realm of Barbello, and I'm not fit to utter the name of the one who sent you. And then Jesus sort of explains the history of the cosmos to Judas, explains how the world was created, explains how there is an ineffable, invisible spirit who emanates divine beings, and one of those divine beings falls out of the plethora of divine beings and creates the material world, and the material world is the product of like an evil or incompetent demiurgic god called Beelzebul. Just like wacky stuff. And you can imagine when they read this, when they first discovered this, they're just like, holy moly, this is absolutely insane. This is going to like change everything. But the big thing is, Judas is the one who gets up. Like you say, Judas gets up and says, I know who you are. So a lot of people read this and thought, wow, this retells the story. Judas is the hero. But that's kind of disputed because later in the text, Jesus seems to say to Judas that you also are not worthy of like entering into this house. Like Judas is the best of the disciples and he's sort of understanding it, but he's still not like the hero of the story. He's still not actually going to like be one of the generation that get back to the plethora. So it's kind of unclear what the treatment of Judas is in that gospel. But the way it ends is the authorities show up and Judas hands Jesus over to them, and that's it. That's where it ends. It's an incredible gospel, and we know that it's written in the 2nd century at the latest. So Christians will look at this and they'll say, well, look, I mean, the difference between something being written in like 70 AD and like 150 AD is like massive. Yep. Because you're talking about eyewitness testimony versus like, 100 years later. It's like the difference between writing about Tupac like now versus like 100 years from now or something.
Yeah,
it's
without any internet.
Totally, exactly. Yeah. It's like totally different, right? So, but what it does tell us is that there existed communities who had completely different views of what Jesus was about.
That's why the Council of Nicaea is important, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, organize all these different opinions.
Even within like Orthodox Christianity, there were disputes about the nature of Jesus, and that's what's ironed out. But there are just communities that just have like completely different views.
Yeah,
and these Gnostics, the reason they're called Gnostics is because it comes from the Greek word gnosis, which means knowledge. And in Orthodox Christianity, the way that people are saved is through the sacrifice of Jesus. That's how you're saved, because Jesus dies for you. For Gnostics, it's not about what Jesus did, it's about having the right knowledge. He brings the correct knowledge, and if you have the right knowledge, that's what will save you. So some of these Gnostic Gospels don't even mention the crucifixion. It's like not important. It's not in the Gospel of Judas. It's not in the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is a sayings gospel, though, so maybe that's not fair. But it's just got like weird and wacky stuff in it. The Gospel of Thomas is discovered in Nag Hammadi. So the biggest treasure trove of Gnostic Gospels was discovered in 1945 in the desert in Egypt, where this teenage farmer is digging in the desert, and he accidentally hits upon a jar, and he's scared to open it at first because he thinks it's got a jinn in it, like a demon. And eventually they open it. It's got all this ancient papyrus, and he takes it home, and his mother's using some of it to like feed the fire. You know?
Oh shit!
And then they discover that it's this treasure trove of ancient documents. But that story is wacky, man, because the way they tell it at first is like, oh yeah, we were out there digging for some materials, and then we found this jar. And then the teenager is like, they go and they find him. Some researcher wants to find him, and he mentions that there was like a corpse. And then the older brother of the farmer was like, no, there was no corpse. It's like, what's going on? And it seems like what might have been happening is a grave robbing. And they kind of didn't want to, and they've obviously discovered all this stuff and they want to sell it, so they've come up with this story. So it's actually kind of unclear how it was discovered. So the leading theory was the reason these are buried in the desert is because in like the 4th century, Athanasius defines the 27 books of the New Testament and says all the other books are heretical, so they get buried in the desert. And that was the theory, and that's what he discovered. But that changed into some people now thinking that it was normal to bury people with important like things to them, so like with papyrus or documents. So somebody was probably just buried who had an extensive collection of Gnostic literature, and they were buried with it. There was a grave robbing, and they found this thing, and they're like, oh shit, it's worth some money. So they started trying to sell it. So this text, this collection of texts includes loads of important Gnostic literature, including the Gospel of Thomas, which is probably the most famous. It's a so-called sayings gospel. So it's just a list of sayings of Jesus. It says these are the secret teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, which Judas Didymus Thomas wrote down. And some of it is similar to what we find in the New Testament canon, but some of it is incredibly weird.
Don't some people claim that Thomas was Jesus' twin?
Yes. So the word Didymus means twin. And in the New Testament canon,
Jesus had all right, keep going.
Yeah, Jesus had a twin. Well, Jesus had brothers. We know that Jesus had brothers. And it's actually a point of contention because like
rough, dude.
Disputed.
Yeah, if you heard of
half brothers, right?
Have you heard of the perpetual virginity of Mary?
No.
So there's a dispute whether, obviously, the Virgin Mary has a virgin birth of Jesus, but did she then remain a virgin? And Catholics say yes, she did.
Oh.
And a lot of Protestants say no, she didn't. And part of the reason for that is because Jesus is described as having brothers. Now, it could be that brother was just like a name that was given to them. It wasn't like a literal brother. Right. Or maybe they were other sons of Joseph or something like this. But the most natural interpretation to me is that he did actually just have brothers, especially because for me, remember, I think that the birth narratives are invented. So I think the people who originally write the stories, they're not concerned with the virgin birth because they don't even know it exists. I don't think the virgin birth happened for many reasons, one of which is that like, at one point in Mark's gospel, Jesus is performing an exorcism and his family come out. So his family come out and they say that they think he's lost his mind. They're like, what's he doing? Has he lost his mind? Because they don't understand. I'm like, if you've got this whole thing with like an angel coming down to you and telling you what's going to happen and you should call him Emmanuel and you have a virgin miraculous birth and then like and then later on, you just like, you just forget all of that and you're like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, he's lost his mind. You know? It doesn't seem to line up for me. So I don't think the virgin birth happened at all, of course. There's also some dispute over the translation. I mean, it says that there's an Old Testament prophecy that says a virgin shall conceive. The Hebrew word there is alma, which can just mean a young woman of marriageable age. Right. But again, Greek New Testament. So the Greek Septuagint translates the word as parthenos, which means virgin specifically. Right. So some people think that the New Testament authors were reading a Greek version. When the prophecy only said young woman, they read virgin, so they came up with the virgin. That's disputed as well. Who knows? But yeah, so Jesus has brothers. And Thomas isn't described as Jesus' brother, but he's called the twin. So even in the canonical literature, it's Thomas, also known as Didymus. And Thomas itself, the name Thomas means twin. It's like a development of an Aramaic word which means twin. I think like Tomar or something means twin. So in the Aramaic language, his name's Thomas, which means twin. But the Gospels take a lot of effort, like translating it into the Greek. Given that Thomas already is a word that means twin, that's where the name comes from. The New Testament authors write down Thomas, also called Didymus. So in the Greek language, Didymus means twin. So when the Greek authors are writing it, they're like, he was called Thomas, which means Didymus. So it's important to the Greek authors to tell the reader that his name, that he was called the twin. Right? That's important to them. So why? Why is he called the twin? Nobody knows. Some people think it could be a nickname because he looked like Jesus, and so they called him the twin. Some people think he might have been the twin brother of Jesus. Orthodox Christians will dispute that because that really puts a nail in the coffin for the virgin birth. Because if Jesus is born of a virgin and Thomas is his twin, then Thomas is also born of a virgin birth. And then who's that can't run, right? However, there is an apocryphal, it's called the Acts of Thomas, which is another apocryphal gospel which again, not canon, probably completely ahistorical, but this is where Thomas travels to India. Because Thomas is traditionally the person who brings Christianity to India. And if you go to India today,
reason. He goes there to trick them.
Yeah.
if you go to India today, you will find like really devout groups of Thomasites who really revere Thomas as an important guy because he's the guy that brings Christianity to India. And the Acts of Thomas is one book that recounts this. But at one point, I think they were at a wedding and somebody confuses Thomas for Jesus. They get them mixed up because they look so similar.
Well,
so that either yeah, all these Judeans look the same to me.
That was the word I was looking for.
They either mix them up because they are actually twins and that's why they look similar, or maybe they just happen to look similar and that's where he got the nickname. But for some reason, Thomas is called the twin. And so again, in the Gospel of Thomas, it's Judas Didymus Thomas. So Judas is obviously some other name that he's somehow got attached to him, and then Didymus Thomas. So twin, which is a little bit weird. Some people are a bit speculative, a bit suspicious of the fact that it says that it words it like that, but I think twin could be a nickname. It could mean that he's his twin, whatever. But Thomas is allegedly the one who writes down all of these sayings of Jesus. And most scholars date this to the 2nd century, so it's probably not actually written by Thomas. Some scholars kind of think it's earlier, but that's a bit controversial. Again, Christians are going to watch this and they're going to be like, it's definitely late. Like, there's no way. It's ridiculous to suggest that it's early, but like, man, like, think what you want to think. It's got some weird stuff in there. And
how do you explain the miracles like water to wine and making a blind man see and all that stuff?
So, yeah, that's a bit weird. The water to wine only happens in John's Gospel. It's the first miracle that Jesus performs, and he doesn't want to at first. Mary, his mother, comes up to him and is like,
get the party started.
She's like, we've run out of wine. And he says to her, woman, what has this got to do with me? Which sounds a bit clunky in the English. It sounds kind of rude, but it means something like saying like, like darling, or she's like, what's this got to do with me? Like, my time hasn't come yet. And she's basically like, please, Jesus, come on, we're out of wine. He's like, fine. So he goes and he turns the water into wine. I don't know. I mean, we whether or not you think he performed miracles, especially healing and exorcism, it is like beyond the shadow of a doubt that he was known for doing that. Mm-hmm. He was known as a healer and as a miracle worker. Yeah. He was known well for doing that. I don't know about Lazarus in particular, because the raising of Lazarus only happens in John's Gospel. Also, by the way, one of my favorite indications that Jesus isn't God, because he prays before he raises Lazarus from the dead. He, just before he raises Lazarus from the dead, he looks up to the sky and he says, Father, thank you for having heard me. And you know what he says? He says, I know that you always hear me, but right now I'm saying this for the benefit of everybody watching, so they will know that you have sent me.
That doesn't mean he's not God, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that he's not God. But what it means is that it implies. So a lot of people say that when Jesus performs miracles of his own authority, that shows that he's God. Because Old Testament prophets like Elijah and Elisha raised people from the dead, but they prayed to God first. They're like, God,
right,
raised this person from the dead. But Jesus did it of his own accord. But Jesus, before he raises Lazarus, prays to God and doesn't just say like, "Oh, I'm praying to you first," but says, "I know you always hear me. But right now I'm saying it for the sake of everybody else," implying that in instances where it seems like he's acting of his own accord, he is still praying to God. He's just not doing so publicly. Because he says in John's Gospel before he raises Lazarus, I know you always hear me, but I'm saying it right now so they'll know that you've sent me. Which is kind of interesting, right?
And that would jive with you have sent me, not necessarily, but the yogis.
Yeah, so there's constantly Father has sent me.
Yogis perform miracles is kind of
Yeah, and so
you're a Hindu, dude.
It's not like
you don't know it.
It's not like Christians aren't aware that Jesus was constantly saying that the Father has sent him. They have their interpretation of that, but I think a lot of it lines up and converges on the idea that Jesus didn't claim to be God in this sense. Whether he performed those miracles is like kind of out of my purview. Like maybe miracles happen. I probably don't think they did, but he definitely had a reputation for doing something. Something extraordinary was going on with this guy who was walking around and doing stuff. And all of these traditions develop around him. People want to write about him, and then people start writing all of these gospels and stuff. But people have different ideas about what Jesus did. The Gospel of Thomas, which again I should clarify, is not canonical. Most Christians think it's like got no connection to history, but it says some weird stuff in there. Like at the very end, the last saying in the sayings Gospel of the Gospel of Thomas is the most famous, where one of his, I think it's Simon Peter, says to Jesus, Mary Magdalene should depart from us because she's a woman, and women can't inherit eternal life. They're not worthy of life. Now, from what you know of Jesus, what would you expect him to say? What are you talking about? Like,
everybody's worthy of it.
What he says is, I will draw her to me to make her a man, so that she will inherit eternal life. For any woman who makes herself into a man will inherit eternal life.
Now, could that be a translation?
It could. So people say this. This is like the earliest indication of transgender, man into woman.
But is that like his way of communicating to a bunch of dudes that don't think women are that they should be, and he has to find a way to communicate?
So
it
I've
they
heard
can
that the
understand.
translation of the word man in that sense is like courage or like bravery.
That's what I'm assuming.
I think a lot of that is going on, especially because so much less work has been done on the thing about these Gnostic Gospels, like the Gospel of Thomas.
We're gonna get Wesley Huff in here, dude. We're gonna get Wesley Huff in here. He's gonna refute all this shit. Dude.
He will try. I've seen a lot of Wes's work. I like him. Seems like a really nice guy. I think he's made some blunders in various areas that are really important, and I've made as much known. There are some that I've spoken about and some that I haven't. I did a podcast yesterday where I spoke in detail about this massive blunder that Wes Huff made. I think it was like a year or so ago, which kind of brought someone I know into a bit of disrepute, unfortunately, and he just made this like really, really big blunder. But I don't like just like throwing stuff like that out there because it sounds like you're just sort of taking a jab or whatever. But I've always been happy to speak to Wes, and I think I wouldn't want to debate him because I think you'd lose a lot of the interesting bits because you'd be too like prideful and defensive because you're like, I'm going to defend my view. I'd love to have a conversation with him though. But yeah, I think he's made some mistakes.
But you are admitting on air that you would not debate Wesley Huff.
No, I mean I would.
No, I would. But you're saying the conversation might be more fruitful.
Yeah, it would be way better. I mean
that'd be cool to listen to both of you. I would love to hear his perspective on it. It's so difficult to be in our position because I know zero. Right. So anything you say to me is gospel.
So Wes Huff thinks that Mark's gospel presents Jesus as God in every single chapter.
Got it. And you guys dispute that.
He's got a video. Well, I don't have so much of a problem with saying that the gospels present Jesus as God. I just don't think Jesus claimed it for himself.
Got it.
So Wes relies in Mark chapter 2 on the fact that Jesus forgives sins and says that this is quite an important moment. It's the story, have you heard of when the paralyzed...
Whereas John the Baptist doesn't forgive them, he says the Father forgives them.
Yeah, that would probably be the interpretation.
Got it.
Right? But it's like the thing that I think is that people often just miss important corollaries of what they're saying. So like in short, Jesus forgives someone's sins in Mark chapter 2. And the Jewish opponents accuse him of blasphemy. They do it in their hearts. They say like, this man is blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone? And the man's paralyzed. And Jesus says, why are you thinking these things? Which is easier to say, your sins are forgiven, or get up and walk? So that you know that the Son of Man has the authority to forgive sins, I say to you, get up and walk. And the man gets up and he walks off. So Jesus is saying like, if you don't think I can forgive sins, watch me do this much harder thing, and then you'll know that I have the authority to forgive sins.
How stubborn are Jews to see that and be like, nah, he's not the one?
Yeah, I know, right?
Like that is, we don't talk enough about the Jewish faith.
But that is.
Imagine how much faith you have to have in your religion. You see a guy who's paralyzed.
Yes.
The dude goes, yo, check it, I'm God. Watch, get up, walk.
That is the message.
They still go, this guy's crazy.
That is the message of the Gospels. And as the Gospels go on, they get more anti-Jewish. And especially in John's Gospel, you have, like, Jesus is describing at least his Jewish opponents and possibly the Jewish people as, like, he says, they're like, we only have one father and our father is Abraham, or our father is God. And he's like, no, your father is the devil. Ooh! He says that your father is the devil, and so a lot of like Christian anti-Semitism has come from this idea that the idea that the Jews are responsible for the death of Christ also develops throughout the Gospels.
Was there any like conversation back in the day? There's got to be some Jews writing to each other where they're like, this guy might be onto something. Like he turned the water into wine.
Well, yeah, those are called the Gospels.
Seriously, the letters of Paul.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It's true.
Dude, we could talk about this forever, man. We'd love to have you back on next time you're in town. Maybe talk some more. Maybe we get Wes on and have another little conversation. I would love you guys to talk. Sometimes I do think things are lost in debate.
If you managed to get the two of us in a room together, that really would be miraculous.
That would be cool, but it would be miraculous. Yes, it would. Anyway, Alex O'Connor, everybody.